Breaking free from the darkness that I once took. Cutting all the angle where the shadows swell. Aspire to the light where the angels dwell. Every day I'm a rise to reform myself. Breaking free from the darkness that I once took. Cutting all the angle where the shadows swell. Aspire to the light where the angels dwell. Every day I'm a rise to reform This is the Lord's time. Still understand, not the kings in gold, nor the towers tall, but the humble who measure. And hold on, y'all. Let me see, because it sounded like my. Yeah, it sounded like it's not playing through my through the system. You dig what I'm saying? So hold on, let me stop this. Let me stop the screen. Share again. Make sure the audio is on. There we go. All right. Now let's go back. Make sure y'all breaking free from the darkness that I want to. Cutting off the angle where the shadows swell. Aspire to the light where the angels dwell. Every day I'm a rise to refine myself. Breaking free from the darkness that I want to. Cutting off the angle where the shadows swell. Aspire to the light where the angels dwell. Every day I'm a rise to refine myself. I was walking with a weight on the back of my mind. Old patterns in my steps trying to keep me confined. But the voice of the wind said, leave it behind. Let the higher grades pull you where the spirits align. I've been wrestling with the shadows like a lifelong test. Trying to clear out the bad habits, stole my best. Purify thoughts, let the mind rest. Feel jehovih in the breath moving through my chest. No anger in my heart, no revenge I chase. I return good for evil with a warrior's grace. When the ego get loud and I'm crashing the gate, I only pray that Jehovah cast light in my space. Cycles of the arcs got me watching for signs. Pray at dawn, noon, and night, keeping peace on my timeline. These days a new test from the nest we climb. With aim to raise the grade as a soul refined. Breaking free from the darkness that I once so filled. Cutting off the angle where the shadows swell. Aspire to the light where the angels dwell. Every day I'm a rise to refine myself. Breaking free from the darkness that I once so filled. Cutting off the angle where the shadows swell. Aspire to the light where the angels dwell. Every day I'm a rise to refine myself. Pure food, pure thought, that's the vow I take. Let the beast life go for jehovih spake. No poison in the body that the world might make. Lion's mane is my chicken, portobello's my steak. I've been learning that refinement don't happen overnight. It's a bunch of small things that keep stacking in the light. Every lust I deny makes the spirit ignite. When you're lost, the past seem incoherently bright. I don't condone war, won't bless no blade. No blood on my hands, ain't a man I hate. Laboring for others, let the soul make great. Watch for the snakes that lay await in the shade. Hold to the right when the wrongs arrive. Stop the lower self when the ego rise. Praise grow high as the always die. And I move with the text that jehovih provide. Breaking free from the darkness that I once so felt. Cutting off the angle where the shadows swell. Aspire to the light where the angels dwell. Every day I'm a rise to refine myself. Breaking free from the darkness that I once so felt. Cutting off the angle where the shadows swell. Aspire to the light where the angels dwell. Every day I'm a rise to refine myself. I've been speaking to my past like you good, we done. All that chaos you carried had me always always on the run, but I'm cleaner in the spirit since I let you be one. Of the lessons, not the leader, now the light gets spun. Used to chase after things that would fracture my mind. Now I sift every motive just to see what I find. If the shadow try to whisper, I don't press rewind. I just breathe, let it pass, leave the noise behind. Refinement got me moving with a whole new stride. Putting books to the test when the text collide. It's a quiet kind of growth, not a show, not a slide. Just peace getting louder on the spiritual side. Ain't no rage in my frame like it used to be. I can talk to cops now without them shooting me. If a thought turn foul, I give it scrutiny. Cause a watch they got the tools to set your future free. Breaking free from the darkness that I once so felt. Cutting up the angle where the shadows swell. Aspire to the light where the angels dwell. Every day I'ma rise to refine myself. Breaking free from the darkness that I once so felt. Cutting off the angle where the shadows swell. Aspire to the light where the angels dwell. Every day I'ma rise to refine myself.
In the ark of Rupta, the heavens wide, the Lord descended through the fiery tide to Guadama's land where the rivers bend, calling his children to rise again. He said, where are the hens, my sacred band? The quiet minds who still understand, not the kings in gold, nor the towers tall, but the humble who measure and build for all. They came from the valleys and mountain veins, from the lands of copper and silver plains, not dressed in jewels nor armored pride, but with clean hands and the truth inside. They built canals where the waters flow, squared the stone where the temples grow. Silent strength, the meek refine, the greatest people the Lord could find.
We rise from dust where the strong men fell, reading from the pages where the prophets tell. Lost men boast while the chosen look. We are in shape the world in the Lord's third book. We rise from dust where the strong men fell, reading from the pages where the prophets tell. Lost men boast while the chosen look. We are in shape the world in the Lord's third book.
The pride grew strong in the Ahorn land. The kings took power with a soldier's hand. Temples rose up of copper and gold, but the hearts of the people were dark and cold. The Ahens warned of the coming test, but the war drums beat in the east and west. The Lord grew weary, his angels fled, and spirits of darkness ruled instead. Then came the Onguis, fierce and bright, born from the unions of day and night. They hunted and fought by the river's line, carving their laws in flesh and time. They learned the fire from the stones they struck, built their nets and spears by luck. Yet even in war, the plan still stood. The Lord would turn it all to good.
We rise from dust where the strong men fell, reading from the pages where the prophets tell. Lost men boast while the hunters look. The hungry's left a mark in the Lord's third book. We rise from dust where the strong men fell, reading from the pages where the prophets tell. Lost men boast while the hunters look. The hungry's left a mark in the Lord's third book.
A light broke forth where the blood had dried. The Ahin wisdom met the Ongui's pride. From war and hunger, the new race came. The Gans walked forth in jehovih's name. They learned to plow and how to chisel the stone, and raised up temples with the hands of their own. No idol or master to chain their view. They labored in rhythm, the world made new. Their prophets spoke of the law within, a balance that cleanses the dust of sin. They taught that work was a prayer in time, and peace was the art of the soul refined. They gathered the nation, the fierce and meek, to build one tongue for the truth to speak. They broke their soul chains in the dark cloud, shook and rose in light, and then united in the Lord's third book.
We rise from dust where the strong men fell, reading from the pages where the prophets tell. Lost men boast while the faithful look, can fulfill the word in the Lord's third book. We rise from dust where the strong men fell, reading from the pages where the prophets tell. Lost men boast while the faithful look, can fulfill the word in the Lord's third book.
Yeah.
There.
Apollo brought on harmony, love, and kept the law of the host of the stars above. He shaped the flesh and the mind and awakened the soul, from warrior to worshiper, he ran home. Apollo brought on harmony, love, and kept the law of the host of the stars above. He shaped the flesh and the mind and awakened the soul, from warrior to worshiper, he ran home.
He came from Thomas, God of Donga and Ta, controller of vortices, son of Jah, once a mortal man, now Jehovah's angel, who shaped the early humans in the forms more graceful. He said peace and patience are the keys to sight, and perceive there be reasons for dark and light. For where chaos moves, let order descend, and beauty be the language that souls comprehend. He looked on earth, man warring again, deaf to the music that Jehovah sends. Their hands built weapons, their hearts made noise. So Apollo came down to restore the poise. He saw all the hate and the pride of men and vowed to restore what was lost within. He tuned the world till the tones aligned. A man's grade rose, Jehovah's design.
Apollo brought harmony, love, and kept the law of the host of the stars above. He shaped the flesh and the mind and awakened the soul, from warrior to worshiper, he made man whole. Apollo brought harmony, love, and kept the law of the host of the stars above. He shaped the flesh and the mind and awakened the soul, from warrior to worshiper, he made man whole.
Apollo taught wisdom ain't locked in the page, bestowed symmetry and grace that replaced man's rage. Let sound and color redeem the land, and every tool moved true by Jehovah's hand. He said, form is the language that creation gave to lift the soul of man from a beast to a brave. Let beauty in motion correct the wrongs, let worship be labor and prayer be songs. He taught that wisdom is motion and peace, that harmony grows where contention cease. He showed the stars move by reason and plan, and that the same law of rhythm was written for man. Balance the hustle with your peace of mind. Work with the rhythm, the creative design. Shape every motion like verse or rhyme, until purpose and passion move the hands of time.
Apollo brought order, harmony, love, and kept the law of the host of the stars above. He shaped the flesh and the mind and awakened the soul, from warrior to worshiper, he made man whole. Apollo brought order, harmony, love, and kept the law of the host of the stars above. He shaped the flesh and the mind and awakened the soul, from warrior to worshiper, he made man whole.
When the world grew calm and the hearts were wise, Apollo looked up through the clear night skies. The hearts of the people rose pure and strong. The earth itself had become his song.
He saw men in temples in thought and clay, where they labor through love and night met day. The works made holy by hands refined, each craft of prayer in the heart and mind. He gathered the pure in the sea of flame, each spirit reborn without guilt or shame. They rose through light as the worlds aligned, leaving their burdens of the flesh behind. The heavens blazed with the golden hue, old worlds faded as the light broke through. The air stood still as the planet renewed, because Apollo shined the truth where the darkness grew. Apollo brought harmony, love, and kept the law of the host of the stars above. He shaped the flesh and the mind and awakened the soul, from warrior to worshiper, he made man whole. Apollo brought harmony, love, and kept the law of the host of the stars above. He shaped the flesh and the mind and awakened the soul, from warrior to worshiper, he made man whole.
Love, life, balance out there to everybody. It's your hostess with the most, just holding that fire like a roach clip. You're not your nerve, fresh up off of that curve, jelly jam, serve, Kosmon, and right back up in this thing, y'all. Hey, I was just coming today. You know, this is a free chop session. Anybody want to jump on? I was, you know, just getting into some of the current event and topics going on today because it's a lot going on. Anybody want to jump on, man? Y'all free to jump on, man. Link is in the chat. You dig what I'm saying? We gonna rock one more joint, man. Oh man, undergrads came with that JJ 7000 disc. Woo! Selah Shalom. Oh man, shout out to Selah. I've been busy lately, y'all. As y'all know, usually I'll be up here every day popping off something. You dig what I'm talking about? But you know, the JOB been keeping your boy held down with these crazy hours they got me working right now. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. But I wanted to give a big shout out to that brother Selah Shalom, man. I went back and watched the debate with Zion Warchild. Man, he did that boy dirty. And it was very easy and clear win. You dig what I'm saying? And shout out to Sarnetta and to the chat over at the HOK because we stand with the creator. We don't stand with no man. We not boasting any nationality over any other. We not stuck on colorism and things like that. You know what I mean? We are the underdog in situations and in channels and panels where Pan-Africanism or any other ideology is being pushed other than created. You know what I mean? When you shed that type of light, you get a lot of hate. So the fact that people was able to sit their biases aside and just take it for what it is and look at the sources being offered by both sides, it becomes very clear that Selah won, and won handily and clearly. Every point was sourced, point, counterpoint, source, for everything. You dig what I'm saying? So it was a clear win. He ended up winning like I think it was 70 to 30. Something like that, 65, 35, 70, 30. He beat him bad. You know what I mean? And whooped him in his own backyard. You dig what I'm talking about? That's like somebody coming to your house and whooping you in front of your daddy. You basically, how Sarnetta is to Zion Warchild. You know what I mean? We basically went to that man's backyard and whooped him in front of his daddy. Man, shout out BC, man. Shout out the gang. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah, it was definitely an easy win. You dig what I'm talking about? It was clear. It was concise. It was straight to the point. You dig what I'm saying? Absolutely. You know what I mean? 1 second, y'all. Hold on 1 second.
The book of Jehovah, symmetry some. Heard his word, and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung. Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one. The book of Jehovah, symmetry some. Heard his word, and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung. Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one.
Before the earth took shape, new sound of sight. The creator sliced the time in the day and night. He breathed through void till the ether stirred, then sent angels and prophets to teach his word. Motion, notion, devotion aligned, encoded design in the spine of time. Wind wrote signs on the breath of the prime. S intertwined with the flesh of the line. Quicken the killer, conceiver entwined. Dual divine, the ether confined. Two entities birthed, corporate S. Life compressed in the vortex nest. Spirit in the mist, physics resist. Matter persist in Jehovah's fist. Dust kiss flame, clay became twist. Anatomy gift from the infinite list. Male and female named through air. EOE, that sacred blare, not beast, not star. Not anywhere but the whisper of wind as a builder's prayer. Vortex speak, the sequence hum, the life resume. From void to bloom, to eat the groom, creation's womb. Every tune in the flames plume, a living rune. If your soul need food, here's what you consume.
The book of Jehovah, symmetry son. Heard his word and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung. Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one. The book of Jehovah, symmetry son. Heard his word and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung. Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one.
Three states of worlds I made, corporeal terrain, an atmosphere and chain to Etherian planes. Ether the pure, obscure domain. The ghost of light, free the soul from shame. Atmosphere, field and flow. AGA, nebula glow. Currents collide where the comets go. Gravity bend with the vortices, so sound became law. Law gave sight, and every soul aligned in Jehovah's light. His love gave reason, and the heart retune. If your body need rest, here's the text to consume.
The book of Jehovah, symmetry song. Heard his word, and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung. Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one. The book of Jehovah, symmetry song. Heard his word, and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung. Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one.
Before the clay inhaled the spark, the plan was grand. See moose spun pulse through the dust of man. Ether expand to where the blueprint ran. Spirit tied to flesh by Jehovah's hand. Angels descended, intelligent, warm. Walked with Azu where the light was born. Heaven breathed with a mortal form. Lord met love and the veil was torn. The seed took root in the coil's perfume. Sense evolved under the sun and the moon. Time broke the sleep of a deep commune. And now man learns pattern from teeth to spoon. From breath to balance, the most high drop clues. From speech and sequence, the spirit world moved. From page to prophecy through mahogany hues. If your mind need peace, here's the key to consume.
The book of Jehovah, symmetry son. Heard his word and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung. Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one. The book of Jehovah.
Yeah, boy, listen, this stuff is baking. You dig what I'm saying? Shout out Kev Capone, man. FGK, you dig what I'm saying? Shout out to the false god killers, man, the undergrads. Everybody, you know what I mean, putting that together. That thing gonna be hot. Trust me. All that music you've been hearing me banging, you dig what I'm talking about? Straight from the undergrads, you dig what I'm talking about? Shout out FGK Capone, you dig what I'm talking about? Another faithist brother, you dig what I'm talking about? Putting that together. You dig what I'm saying? Oh, but let me go ahead and kill him one time. Huh? Let me go ahead and kill him one time with that Lion's Den diss. Huh? Hold on.
Den, but I ain't seen one, man. Just echo chamber. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one, man. Just echo chamber crowds with 1-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripting, no scars from the game. With a savior complex, say that shit for those lanes. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one, man. Just echo chamber
JJ 7000 did.
Jungle talk scripting, no
Yeah, we ain't seen no man, nigga, no line. Let's go.
JJ, just a joke. In a justice jacket, jogging, jam, jabbering, juvenile tactics. Juries in your lives are shady and janky. Jealous of the Giants cause you fell out the rankings. Jerky cam journalism, jump scare opinions, jumbled agendas, just unripe and sinning. Judas tone justice, throw up your hands theatrics, jumping jacks and backflips, just jaunt for traffic. Doug, heavy judgment, temper alert, jaw tight cause the truth slashed your pride and it hurt. Jekyll by day, 7,000 by night, jammed in drunkenness, just itching to fight. Joy riding debates on another man's back. Scream your opinion, jack his momentum for claps. Jockeying viral moments just for a reaction. Job site, stay your master with no YouTube tracks. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one man. Just echo chamber crowds with 1-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripted, no scars from the game. With a savior complex, say that shit for those lanes. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one man. Just echo chamber crowds with 1-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripted, no scars from the game. With a savior complex, say that shit for those lanes. Jackhammer jogging from a job you resent. Jaded by labor, now it all makes sense. Jeans full of dust, but judging the profits. Jumping from job shift to the scripture for profits. Judging by hue, not intention or deed. Job melanin metrics, you are the fruit of that seed. Jehovah jargon, you just jamming the message. Just ignore spirit and essence for your skin tone obsession. Jeremiah energy, joy never present. Judging souls in the fold while your own needs tending. Justice preached, but the patience missing. Just noise, no light, just hate, no listening. Jumping up at sunrise, speaking in anger. Jostling combat vets, putting yourself in danger. Apostle getting wet, you getting mad in the chat. Just sit behind him like his hoe and rub some salve on his back. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one man. Just echo chamber crowds with 1-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripted, no scars from the game. With a savior complex, say that shit for those lanes. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one man. Just echo chamber crowds with 1-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripted, no scars from the game. With a savior complex, say that shit for those lanes. Junction reach, max slips, posture pretends. Jocular preacher posing as a principal lens. Josh chasing rhetoric, smoking the eye. Jerry Rick vid stitched up for a lie. Juxtapose motives, the pattern looks thin. Jingle coded framing where division sneaks in. Jaundiced perception, travel by design. Jerking the discourse from spirit to sign. Jolted by losses, you journal in rage. JBN got you hating, scared to open the page. Junk drawer doctrine, mixed metals and rope. Just loud repetitions, no semblance of hope. Jaded by design, suspicious of each. Just conflict, addiction, the destruction of peace. Jukebox answer, same record replayed. Just scratches and skips, where thinking decay. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one man. Just echo chamber crowds with 1-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripted, no scars from the game. With a savior complex, say the shit for those lanes. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one man. Just echo chamber crowds with 1-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripted, no scars from the game. With a savior complex, say the shit for those lanes.
Yeah. You can't talk to it, you can't walk to it. Hey, man, hey, that's that riding music right there. Hey, that's that Lion's Den dish. You dig what I'm talking about? That's JJ 7000 dish. You dig what I'm saying? He been hating lately, so the homies then put him in the crosshairs and snipe that boy. You dig what I'm saying? This easy work over here. You dig what I'm talking about? Y'all gonna understand spirituality ain't what they told you it was. And in the Kosmon era, it's definitely not gonna look like what you thought it was. Oh yeah. A lot of that spirituality is coming covered in copper color. Y'all gonna figure it out. Hey, but this your boy Kosmon, man. We gonna get into it real quick. Shout out to homie Sela Shalom. He put that thing down this weekend. You dig what I'm saying? Put some work in on that boy Zion Warchild. Easy work. You dig what I'm saying? Oh, excuse me. That was easy work. You dig what I'm saying? So definitely big salute out to the homie, you dig what I'm saying, for putting that together. And you know, always Selah being
So y'all want to say
the showman that he really is, you dig what I'm talking about, an educator, but also a showman. You know, when you get that work over here, we gonna make you famous. When you come against the creator, we gonna make you famous. You dig what I'm saying? We gonna put you on the front page. You dig what I'm talking about? You gonna be on the news. Huh? King Selah Shalom. This that war child. This video. Told y'all spirituality ain't looking like what you thought it was.
so y'all want to say that the brother won, y'all can say what you want to. Y'all voted the way y'all voted. I ain't hurt.
King Selah Shalom, another victory. Hail me, the king, cause that's what it tend to be. War child got crushed, I took him out his misery. Swing swords cut his vocal cords quite sufficiently. Zion under my feet met his defeat instantly. Trying to compete, run a retreat before you mention me. In the Coliseum, I got eyes on my enemies. In mausoleums, I'ma leave them for coming centuries. Headshot, fatal, couldn't recover from his injuries. Bloody gore, ligaments tore, did him vicious, gut him to the core. Give him some more, straight consistent, settle the score. Cause I'm for sure another victor. Cut through Zion like a knife, decapitate, take life. Put his head on the altar for the ultimate sacrifice. For years you've been living lies, following the myth in the sky. Greco-Roman theology through Ethiopian eyes. You just as blind as Christians who thinking Jesus is why. Truth in front your face and you seem to can't get it right. Jah Rastafari, not gonna save your life. Real killers moving silence in the shadow of night. The sleeping giant awoke, you know it's been a while. Coming out of hibernation, hungry, thirsty on the prowl. When the conquering lion growling, echoes about a mile. I'm the real god of war, this nigga just a war child. Sacrifice him to his god, now his soul's immortal. Walking through the valley of death on brimstone town. Zion wanted smoke, got suffocated by poison clouds. If you can't take the heat, get the hell out the kitchen now. Standing on my square, and I'm here to retain the crown. This debate Coliseum, I'm bringing the building down. 2 years ago, we told you a new sheriff was in town. Battle of the holy books, bitch, we back you niggas down.
Man, it's hot up in this case, man.
King Selah, man, with another body. You dig what I'm saying? Easy work, too. You dig what I'm saying? Sooner or later, y'all boys gonna catch on. You dig what I'm talking about? The gang ain't nothing to be played with. Now, we gonna get into the topic today. I know a lot of y'all probably, I don't know if y'all hip to Candace Parker, right? Well, you know, since the boy Charlie Kirk got popped, you dig what I'm saying? She been on one, right? And she exposing everything. And the crazy part is the media and the powers that be are terrified of this little woman. Huh? So much so that they sent their lapdog. Everybody know Piers Morgan is the lapdog of the Zionist jewelry, allegedly. You dig what I'm talking about? Allegedly. But he's so disingenuous. It comes off readily. You can tell that he's not being truthful and that he's pushing a narrative, right? And she just asking questions, right? And it is shaking up the media as we know it today. You dig what I'm saying? Who would have thought? You dig what I'm saying? Who would have thought Candace Owens? You dig what I'm saying? She was a lap dog at one time too. Don't get it twisted, right? But they kicked her one too many times, and she found out, oh, they're not my friends. Right? She was literally the spook that sat by the door. Now the spookers didn't come home. The chickens have come home to roost. Everything is being exposed, right? Let's get into some of this Piers Morgan, Candace interview.
Assassination of Charlie Kirk. Many have been captivated nightly by what they see as either a thrilling real-time investigation into a colossal cover-up or a cynical strategy to exploit the most emotive and consequential news story of the year. Several of the Candace Owens claims are focused on Turning Point USA, the organization funded by Charlie Kirk and now run by his widow, Erica, who last week issued this firm request.
She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business.
Now, want y'all to catch something, right? I ain't gonna keep stopping and all that stuff, but I want y'all to catch something, right? If the eyes are the window to the soul, right? I want y'all to get a good close look. If the eyes are the window to the soul, this woman is Satan incarnate, right? You ain't that mad about somebody who is fighting for your husband who just got murdered, politically assassinated, live on TV in front of everybody. You're not mad at a person who is trying to get down to the bottom basement tax of why your husband was killed. You're not this upset if you haven't already got answers, right? And know something else other than what she's digging up. The only problem you would have with somebody, doing an investigation on somebody who killed your homeboy is if you was in on it or you know something about it and the investigation is just hitting a little too close. Right? Nobody is truly mad at the policeman who is investigating your brother's murder. That's in a sense what's happening, right? Except you got a journalist pushing these issues, huh? Showing the new power in media, right? Y'all be careful. Right? With this AI stuff too, you never actually kind of even know no more. You got to be real careful. But nobody is that mad. And if the eyes are the window to the soul, ooh, this woman is in hell already. Right? Just pay attention.
Off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
Well, shortly after that, Candace Owens.
Now, we're going to get into it, and I'm going to let them break it down, but they had a meeting after that, right? Candace met with Erica Kirk. We're going to let Candace tell you if Erica Kirk told her to stop to her face. Watch this.
Was invited to a lengthy private meeting with Erica Kirk, which is now the catalyst for frenzied speculation that she may be having second thoughts about some of her theories. She's also, I should add, marking the release of her new book, Make Him a Sandwich. And amid all of that, she joins me now for her first interview since the meeting with Erica Kirk. Candace Owens, welcome back to Uncensored.
RBG, all you got to do is hold on a second. We're getting into all that today. Everything you just brought up, we about to bring up the we just seen the Nikki Kirk sit down with the Kirk widow right there. Watch this. We're gonna get right into the Trinidad connection too. Right? We also gonna get into the information on marijuana and all this stuff. Just watch this.
It's good to be with you at the end of another year.
Yes, and what a year it's been, not least for you. It's fair to say your fame continues to rise, infamy, some would put it, but you're always a welcome guest on Uncensored. Let's get to this extraordinary meeting that you had with Erica Kirk. It came right after we saw her say in that CBS town hall, you should stop with the conspiracy theories. So who approached who about you guys actually getting together?
I was approached by Turning Point after Blake Neff, who works on Charlie's show, sort of fumbled this invite. It was, I'd almost say it was a fake invite publicly. And then in the middle of the night said, oh, Candace is not able to be here tomorrow. And they never messaged me. And I think there was quite a bit of public backlash with how they went about it. It just was just not the way that we try to set meetings. And so what happened after was they reached out to me, said Erica would agree to do a live stream, just the two of us. And then after Erica's PR blitz, they reached out again and said that they felt that it was better for us to meet one-on-one as opposed to us sitting down having Megyn Kelly moderate, which was the idea originally.
Right. And so where did you have your summit meeting?
At a hotel here in Nashville.
And a lot of a lot of your supporters, fans of your show, think that you may have been lured into a trap. Did anything while you were there make you think you were being lured into a trap?
I don't know that a lot of my fans think that I was being lured into a trap. I think ahead of time, they had some concerns, obviously, because I think in general, after you see a public assassination and you start tracking so many lies that are happening, there's going to be an understandable amount of angst that people feel. And I certainly felt the angst as well. I've obviously been very clear that I am suspicious of some of the characters that are at Turning Point USA. So I totally understand why the public was concerned.
When you saw Erica, she was obviously angry about you in that CBS town hall. What was her demeanor like when you met her?
Well, I don't think that she thought she was angry in that. I think maybe that was the characterization from the public. I certainly thought she was angry as well. And she sort of clarified that she was a bit annoyed by the questioning, the way in which Barry had set up the question with the podcaster Candace Owens, which I think was definitely being driven more by Barry Weiss's feelings towards me, long-running feelings towards me, than it was perhaps for the benefit of CBS and trying to pretend to be an impartial journalist. So I think she was frustrated by the line of questioning.
For everything that they say about Candace Owens, right? One thing I can say about her right now, right, is she was a shield for the Republican Party. She was a total dupe. She's admitted that she was sent out to, cape for the Jews and attack the blacks, right? She's admitted that, right? But one thing I can say about her, I'll give her credit for. Once she figured out she was duped, but she didn't get it till she got kicked to the curb. And then what the funny part is, they used Charlie Kirk to pressure. They pressured Charlie Kirk to kick her out, and he did it. He caved, right? So he kicked her to the curb, right? And now the funny part is she is his biggest advocate. But one thing I can give her credit for is that when she found out she was being played, remember that old saying, there's nothing worse than a woman scorned. Man, she is the epitome of it, right? And she too sharp for him. She danced too well. She too on a point. You dig what I'm saying? To get caught up in the mess. And she a little bit above board. So what they didn't really understand about Candace, what they liked about her was that she had a pit bull mentality, and you sick her on something, she was gonna be with it, right? But they forgot she's still a pit bull. And now she got her teeth in something else. And she's shaking meat loose. You dig what I'm talking about? So once she seen the light, Candace acted accordingly. I can give her that. All the stuff before, and I can't forget it, right? We remember who you was in 2016. We remember. We remember you under the first Trump presidency when we first even started seeing you. We remember that. But we see you now, too.
What she explained to me.
So how would you categorize the 4.5 hours? If you were looking at it in totality, what was the tone of the conversation? What do you think you both got out of it?
Well, for me, answers to the questions of trying to understand why there were so many turning point lies and why instead of people acknowledging that these are lies, I felt that there was this billion-dollar psychological operation to convince people that Candace is just crazy. These aren't lies. These are made up. And so I was very refreshed that they owned up to the lies. That was a great first step. And I think, you know, what motivates that? Maybe because despite having what I would assume to be the best PR agents and crisis PR agents in the world, we're moving toward a different world where people don't really care, you know, if you are friends with the people at, what is it, WME and CAA and what they can do for you. That sort of power is ineffectual in this day and age. And so I think they recognize that, and that the public simply doesn't believe the story that they've been fed, and the psychological operation to convince us not to believe our own eyes or to trust our common sense instincts has failed. Okay, and I think on their end, they got more clarity on how I figured out certain things, more clarity on why I am convinced that there are people that are inside of Turning Point that are dirty. And I was able to share more with them off record. And I think that they got more clarity in exchange.
Before we get into some of the sort of specifics, is there not a danger here? I've already seen it in some of the reaction from people that follow your show. Is there not a danger that in seeking to be the one that exposes the truth? And I don't know the truth about what happened to Charlie Kirk. I work on the assumption that this lone, twisted, weirdo Tyler Robinson killed him for whatever reason, and I suspect personally that is how this will play out. However, I have an open mind in the sense that we still don't really know what happened with President Kennedy's assassination. I found the attempted assassination of Donald Trump very odd in the way that that's been handled by the authorities and so on. I'm not naive. As a journalist of 40 years, I'm not naive enough to say every single thing you've been saying is obviously baloney, because I don't know. And we'll get to some of the more specific details. But is there not a danger, Candace, that by having a 4.5-hour private meeting, rather than doing it in public, that all you're really going to do, collectively actually, you and Erica Kirk, is fuel the conspiracy theories about what you may or may not have discussed in that meeting, what part of the stuff that you've been broadcasting on your show she agrees with and doesn't agree with, and so on. Is there not a danger this is the least transparent way of going about trying to get solutions here?
Well, I'm a very transparent person, so my preference was to do it publicly, but I took the offer, obviously, to have any conversation, because if I hadn't done that, then I think everything I'm been doing would have appeared disingenuous. Like, oh, Candace is pretending that she wants answers to her questions, but when she got this offer, she suddenly said she didn't want to go because it wasn't public. They would have felt like I was moving the goalpost. So I was willing to take anything. And from their viewpoint, they felt like after the CBS News and the Fox News hits that Erica did, it was... my understanding was that they felt that it was a good idea to bring the temperature down first by having us sit down and communicate. And that doesn't mean that they necessarily say, oh, well, that's it. Now we're not going to have any other public discussion. I'm hopeful they will. I think they should. I totally agree with you. More transparency, the better.
Who else was in the meeting? Erica was there. Who else was there?
Justin Strife, who is the COO of Turning Point USA. And my husband was only there for a portion of it. And my cousin.
So there were no lawyers, for example?
No lawyers. But they did phone their lawyer because I asked the question. I was like, look, I'm open to being wrong, obviously. If there is something, which I think the media was kind of hinting at, that they had more, but they couldn't share it with the public, I said, I'm happy to keep my mouth shut. And I want to feel good walking out of here that there is something there. There is some sort of a smoking gun. And I will tell viewers just to be patient. And so they did call one of the lawyers working on this case, and it was not convincing at all. He said, in effect, all we have is what the public has seen. And we won't know more because we're investigating and looking for more. And so that just made me go, why is everybody being so over the top and ridiculous and using words like the evidence is overwhelming? It was Tyler Robinson, when they don't have anything that's overwhelming to show that they don't have a video of him taking the shot, which I think was something that I assumed, like, okay, there's all these cameras. Maybe they actually have that video and they're waiting for a moment to release that to the public. They don't have that. Or at least I can say Erica's side has not seen that. And the lawyer communicated to me that they would not have access to that until earliest would be May, that right now they're just investigating, just like we're doing back at home.
Okay, you said that your motive for going to the meeting was that you would be able to come out and tell the world Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. So are you in a position to say that? Do you believe, as a consequence of your 4.5 hours with Erica, do you believe that it is now most likely that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
Absolutely not. I haven't seen one piece of compelling evidence that Tyler Robinson scaled the rooftops like Spider-Man on a college campus that he didn't go to and fired one shot, a magic bullet shot, and killed Charlie Kirk. I have not seen one piece of compelling evidence. In fact, I've seen more compelling evidence to the contrary.
You've seen their vibrant ads illuminating billboards and train stations for many years. Now it's time you actually saw the show. Shen Yun is...
Didn't say the word overwhelming, but he was like, it's very clear, I think is what he said in particular. And then I pushed back and I said, what's clear? The affidavit? That's all you guys have? And I did tell him, if you would never be my lawyer, because it's just, a lawyer that's just kind of giving you adjectives, and I don't need a cheerleader. I need someone to be practical and to say, we don't have anything yet. I think the communication should be, we are hopeful that throughout this investigation, we are going to uncover more evidence that links Tyler Robinson to this crime. I do feel confident that he was involved in some capacity on that day. As I have said many times on my show, I was the one who broke the story that he was at the Dairy Queen throwing out clothes, a local Dairy Queen, throwing out clothes in a nearby cemetery. And so I do think he was involved, and multiple people were involved that day. And I think he did pick up clothes. I had communication with Lance's family. I had communication with Tyler Robinson's family. And for some reason, Lance is being protected, which I find to be very strange. His own family thinks he's guilty of more, and they find it weird that the feds kind of glossed over him, almost as though he was a Fed operative, like he was working on behalf of them. And we've caught the feds have lied a lot. It's just a fact. Turning Point USA people have lied a lot. That is a fact, which they have agreed to. They said that these were mistakes, but they, whether a mistake or not, the public was lied to. So this obviously, matters deeply to me. And it's just absurd that people would think that I'm doing this for clicks. I know Charlie. I knew Charlie. Charlie and I are very close. And it has been one of the most disgusting things ever that people first and foremost tried to start this psychological operation that Charlie and I hadn't spoken since 2019. They've lied about virtually everything that I've said on my podcast. I'm not going to let this go. Okay. We don't live in a country that is the embodiment of democratic principles. If Charlie Kirk gets publicly executed and the media apparatus is doing everything they can to cover the tracks, I would say to cover the tracks by demanding that there is no further inquiry into what happened on that day. That is not a country that I can get behind.
Let's get to some of the details, because it seems to me you've put up a lot of theories, but a lot of them don't seem to have a clear conclusion from you about what you actually think happened. I mean, you've been all over this now ever since Charlie was killed. What do you believe happened to him? Who do you think killed him?
So I can't tell you definitively who pulled the trigger. I'm not going to lie to audiences and just put something out there that's not real. But what I can say is I feel convinced that the feds were involved. I can tell you that. I think the feds were involved in staging a cover-up. I think Kash Patel knows what happened and did not happen on that day. I am convinced by me being told by people that are feds that he is not acting right and that he is not wanting to share any information. Just a couple of people are allowed to even see anything. A Fed told me that they can't even touch the Charlie Kirk file without risk of being fired, and that he's grown increasingly mad. The U.S. Marshals that were there when they were doing the quote unquote manhunt for 33 hours said that Kash Patel effectively sent them on a wild goose chase. which is what was signaled to the public when he said, we got him, and it was actually the wrong person. And so it caused people to stop looking because they were convinced that they had the shooter. They felt that that was in order to allow the real perpetrators of the crimes to get away.
But that could just be the fog of the immediacy of these things. We've seen it at Brown University, exactly the same thing. They thought they had the killer. They thought they had the killer. It turned out to be the wrong person. Right? It doesn't mean there's any great conspiracy by the feds to cover anything up. And again, even if what you're saying is true, I don't know. Maybe you're right. If what you're saying is true, what is it they're covering up? You've so far intimated or inferred something weird involving Egyptian planes. So, well, you know, what's that about? You've inferred perhaps Israeli involvement in some way. You've certainly inferred a lot of Turning Point USA involvement. That's a lot of people getting involved here in the murder of Charlie Kirk potentially. But what I'm really curious about is, given you've been all over all this and you've been airing all these theories, well, which one is it? It can't be all of these things. Is it somebody?
Well, of course,
is it someone at Turning Point USA? I mean, who do you actually believe was behind this?
Of course, it can be all of those things. And what's really ironic here is that there's a clip of Charlie in the last months leading up to his death where he speaks about the JFK assassination. And he says that multiple countries were involved, multiple people were involved, the LBJ was involved, the feds were involved. And he's correct. That is what it means. When there is a conspiracy, there are multiple people that are involved. Of course, there's not one person on a grassy knoll who shot JFK.
Well, it might have been that.
There are people who had to agree to it. Who would have had to. The Dallas police were involved.
Candace,
I'm answering your question. But my point is, why aren't you just going to point to one person? That to me, even that seems like a part of telling people not to believe their own gut. Obviously, for this to have been pulled off, there had to have been multiple people involved. There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen. Now, who knows what their motivations are? Doesn't mean maybe this person's like, hey, I'm going to help you.
Hang on. Okay, let me stop you. Hang on. When you say obviously somebody at Turning Point, you are accusing right now people that worked with Charlie Kirk at the company he built, which is now run by his widow. You are directly accusing people in that company of being complicit in his murder. Right?
I want to just be very clear connecting that dot. So I said that when there is a conspiracy, of course, there are going to be multiple people involved. So applying that same logic to JFK, right? Knowing, as I do, and as Charlie did believe that LBJ was involved, which then implicates the feds as having been involved, which then implicates the Dallas police station as being involved. I believe Israel was obviously involved, and they were the ones that wanted him dead for saying that what is now AIPAC should have to register under FARA. So there's motive. There are people that have to be involved on the ground that day. There are people that have to be willing to allow the perpetrators to get away. There has to be media that's complicit. And that's what literally Operation Mockingbird was. It was established.
But you know the problem.
Public.
Candace, here's the problem.
Well, hang on. It was established.
Yeah, but here's the problem with everything you're saying.
In this massive cover-up.
You keep saying, and this is where people think you're prone to endless conspiracy theories for whatever reason.
Okay.
Is you keep using the phrase they have to have been involved. So by that yardstick, what you're saying is with JFK's assassination, and we recently had a lot of the files released, which did not conclusively prove any of these things, right? Now, again, I don't know what happened to JFK, but the one possibility you've not ruled in is it was just as simple as Lee Harvey Oswald. It might have been. We don't know, right? So when you say the media has to have been involved, Lyndon Johnson has to have been. But my problem is you're stating all these things as facts.
We can't do 63. So it's such a nonsense that to say that it was Lee Harvey Oswald.
You don't know that.
That's just such a nonsense. Like, no, I do know it was not Lee Harvey Oswald acting by himself. And then that required national security to lock down the files. And that required the feds to impart, the CIA to impart Operation Mockingbird to convince the public that, it was, you can't go against, there's a grieving widow. Don't look further into it. Don't believe your own eyes.
But let me just say, this is your, Candace,
it was a grand conspiracy that killed JFK.
Candace,
and I am going to say that confidently. And I just think we have to grow up.
Candace,
we keep pretending Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK.
Fine.
We can't keep doing that.
That is your opinion. Today's show is sponsored by Oxford Natural, makers of the optimum.
The feds cover it up
theory
because the feds are never going to admit to their own crimes. That is the reason we're still discussing it.
That may be the case, but you can't prove that.
Yeah, well, I can prove common sense that Lee Harvey Oswald did not stand on a
But you
grassy
admit it's your
knoll
opinion.
and assassinate a president. And LBJ, like Charlie says in that clip, which people should go pursue.
Yes, I know Charlie
all
said
of the
that.
weird things that happened that day that were unusual, and LBJ
All right, but let's
decided
get
not
back
to
to
ride that day.
Let's get
and then
back
suddenly he reversed course on all of JFK's
let's
policies,
move off
and
from
he was
JFK.
fighting AIPAC. Israel killed JFK.
All right.
Now, going back to your point about Turning Point USA,
Yes.
and the ridiculous idea that implicating, this is a $100 million organization.
Yeah.
Common sense. If this was not even a high-profile political assassination, and this was just a guy who worked at a company that was $100 million, right? Common sense inquiry is, was there a financial motive for this person to be dead? Okay. This is like Sherlock Holmes 101. And this is what I mean when I say that the public no longer trusts the media because you're asking us to be stupid. And we don't want to do that. We actually don't want to pretend that.
She right. They are asking us to be stupid. That is forensics 101. Who benefits from this person's death? Even an idiot would ask that question.
We're clinical idiots who can't assess things and go, oh, there could be a massive motive here to have Charlie dead, especially when it seems very strange that Bibi Netanyahu, when nobody even had a clue of what happened, this guy's doing the rounds on Fox News and saying, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk. That's kind of weird. Did you feel compelled to jump on to Piers Morgan's show and say, just so everybody knows, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk? Why would he say that?
So
Why was he so involved that somebody who's fighting a 97,000 front war?
Candace, I want to get to the reality of what you're actually saying. So when you say that somebody at Turning Point USA, Charlie's company, was complicit in his murder, who was?
I believe that there were multiple people at Turning Point who are, as I have said many times, my exact words are, they are engaged in a cover-up of what happened to Charlie on that day.
No, but who was involved in his murder?
I didn't say that they murdered Charlie.
You said that people at Turning Point were complicit in his murder.
No, my exact sentence that I said was that there were people at Turning Point who are engaged in a cover-up.
No, you didn't.
I believe that thoroughly.
Candice, you didn't say that. You said literally.
You say that on my entire
you said
show.
there were people at Turning Point complicit in his murder.
Okay.
That's what you said.
When you and I were discussing, that's why I said, let's go back. I was applying the logic of a conspiracy to JFK. I said, okay, JFK, you have people that are complicit. Of course, if you apply that logic, if there is a conspiracy, there's going to be multiple people that are going to be complicit by the time, in order for a large stage murder to happen.
You specifically said, you didn't say complicit in a cover-up. You said complicit in the murder. Because I said, who at Turning Point was involved in his murder? And
let
you
me
said,
clarify for you. Okay, you can keep saying what I said, or you can listen to what I am saying.
Okay.
When I was using the analogy of JFK and we were connecting it, I was basically pushing back on you because you were suggesting that, all of these people being involved would be crazy. So I was applying the analogy of what happened to JFK. Well, you actually, if you go back and listen,
I don't know.
Suggesting that a conspiracy.
I said you don't know either. You're floating theories.
When we started talking about the JFK thing,
listen, let me make it clear.
Piers, I really think you're not holding on to your thoughts here
Candace,
correctly.
let me spell out my thought very clearly.
When we started talking about JFK, the implication that you were making was that it was crazy to suggest that multiple people could have been involved at different levels. I was then connecting the dots and saying that in order for the JFK assassination to happen, there had to have been tons of people that were complicit.
I understand. I heard what you said.
Maybe you're the person who takes the cameras down. Maybe you're the person that told him to drive that day. Maybe you're LBJ. So they're not all complicit in the murder, but they're all at different varying stages involved in the cover-up, right? So that's what a grand conspiracy actually is. And I do believe, so you don't have to go back and we don't have to go through it. I'm telling you what I think about Turning Point. I am very known for being honest about what I believe. I'm not exactly a person that you got to pull teeth on.
Sure.
I believe that there are people at Turning Point who are engaged in covering up what happened on that day.
But were any of them engaged in the planning of the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I wouldn't know how it was planned. Absolutely, I can't make that. I cannot confidently make that statement. I can say confidently that I know they're engaged in the cover-up because I've been investigating what happened on that day and what transpired thereafter. I've been clear. I've named those people on my show. I've said they are engaged in a cover-up and I've listed the lies. So you don't have to try to make something out of what I didn't say. I tell you what I think. It's already controversial. We don't need to get more controversial, okay? Do I think someone at Turning Point pulled the trigger? No. Obviously, I don't think someone at Turning Point.
Do you think anybody at Turning Point
did anybody at Turning Point?
Did anybody at Turning Point, in your opinion, know that Charlie Kirk was going to be murdered?
There is specifically 2 people at Turning Point USA, and I have communicated that information to Erica and Justin Strife, that I would not be surprised if they had foreknowledge of Charlie Kirk being assassinated.
But do you have any evidence?
I'm not going to name. I am not going to name those people, okay, because it's not right for me to name those people until I know for a fact that they did.
Did you give the names Did you give the names to Erica?
Yes,
So
I absolutely did. I said
gave the names to Erica of 2 employees, current employees at Turning Point, who you believe were involved in the preparation for the murder of Charlie Kirk. Is that what you're saying?
I told them that if I were in your shoes, these would be 2 employees that I would look further into. That's
And what evidence do you have that they had any prior knowledge of the murder?
Because I don't have concrete evidence is the reason why I'm not naming them. So I've been responsible.
You've got no
I'm not
evidence,
saying,
but you're telling the widow that these 2 people may have been involved in the murder. But you see the problem.
Well, the evidence for it is people that there is not concrete evidence. It's like you're trying to get me to say something that I never said and then asking me to defend it.
No, I'm asking what evidence
let's
you've
actually
got.
go to, you're asking me privately, did I communicate to them that I think you should look further? That's called an investigation, Pierce, okay? So what you're doing is a strategy of like, if somebody dies, you're saying to police, you can't ask any questions about anybody unless you have concrete evidence. We're at the stage of investigation.
I'm not saying
yes,
that.
you can. And let me give people in the public the permission to do this. Follow your instinct. If you feel something is off, keep asking questions until you get concrete evidence. And when you have concrete evidence, you should name those people. I don't have the concrete evidence.
You have named other people.
I find their inconsistencies.
Okay. But you have named other people.
I'm trying to answer, Piers, you can't ask me questions. You can't ask me questions. Let me finish it. I have communicated to them that their inconsistencies make me uncomfortable. I have communicated to them that somebody else who is a third party gave me some information that I am not yet comfortable as I am vetting it, giving it to the public, because that's the responsible thing to do. These are private citizens. And that if I were in their shoes and had more access to information, I would go down that route, okay? Unless I am fully confident that they actually did have something to do, like here is the smoking gun, I'm not going to name those people. Okay. But the people I have named thus far are people that I believe are engaged in a cover-up. Like I said, hold me accountable for what I have said.
Let's talk about one of those people. Let's talk about one of those people, because the Turning Point producer, Blake Neff, wrote this in early December. Ever since Charlie's murder, Candace Owens has leveled a flood of allegations against people at Turning Point USA, people at Turning Point Action, and people who work for the show. She has made them against some of Charlie's closest friends and against some of his most dedicated employees. She suggested that Michael McCoy, Charlie's chief of staff, knew Charlie would be murdered, was happy that he died, and stayed silent because he was told he would be the next Charlie. Now, let's move then to, you said in your podcast that new information was given to you in your meeting with Erica Kirk about Mikey McCoy that's now satisfied you. On a video on the 27th of October, you devoted the whole episode to this guy and his supposedly strange behavior. I never said I had
information that satisfied me about Mikey McCoy.
Well, I'll ask you to clarify. Okay, well, you can clarify that in a moment. But let's hear what you said about Mikey McCoy before the meeting.
So we decided to slow this clip down, and we're going to watch this clip slow down so you can see that it is exactly 834 milliseconds from the time that you hear the shot. That is how long it takes for Mikey McCoy to put the phone to his ear. Now, why is that precise timing so important? Because there's no dialing. Mikey didn't have time to dial, okay? You can't dial and put your phone to an ear in 0.834 seconds.
Now, what was the new information that you got in your meeting with Erica about Mikey McCoy?
So I'm sorry, your gotcha is not going too well, but I never then said, I am now satisfied that Mikey put the phone to his ear. What I presented to the public, it was what
I
Erica
didn't say
gave to
that.
me.
Sorry, just to clarify.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, you did say so you have
inferred on your
satisfied.
podcast. Well, let me give you the chance to clarify. It's a very familiar story when it comes to debt. The banks win, you pay.
She is whooping the brakes off of Pierce. He just lied. You see how they lied? Oh, you said that you were satisfied. She didn't say anything like that. Right? They will just tell a bald-faced lie. They don't care about none of that, y'all. They will lie about anything.
Pierce. You inferred on your podcast after the meeting with Erica that you'd received new information about Mikey McCoy, which had changed your mind. Would that be the best way to categorize it, or changed some of your mind?
No, I never said that. I just presented it. Well, the only thing that I clarified on my podcast, if that's what they're getting wrong, is that some people thought that he was using a nickname that was his middle name. And actually his real name is Michael, like first name Michael, because I was like trying to find something. And I was like, oh, maybe he's actually using his middle name. So that's what I clarified on my podcast.
And you were given call logs, is that right?
I presented.
You were shown call logs? You were shown call logs?
they gave me a printout of Mikey's call logs and I gave it to the public. That's it. I mean, they're saying this, and then the public obviously comes back.
So do you
and says,
believe
well,
Mikey McCoy had any prior knowledge of Charlie's murder?
I can't say that he had prior knowledge of the murder unless I have something concrete. I can't say anything about prior knowledge. What I can say is what happened on that day. Mikey's behavior is weird on that day. I find it weird, like I said in the podcast yesterday, that what has been communicated to the public is like he called Erica instantly. First thing he did was call Erica instantly. And that's actually the call logs show that he didn't call Erica instantly.
But what are you suggesting about this guy?
And then he had 3 ways.
As you know, when you got a massive platform,
and then showing his call logs showed that Blake Neff actually didn't tell the truth about what happened on that day.
But here's the problem, Candace. You have a massive platform, as you know. Millions and millions of people hang on your every word. When you devote a large part of an entire episode to the strange behavior of Charlie Kirk's chief of staff, you are putting a target on the guy's back. You're inferring it has something to do with this or something to do with some cover-up or whatever it is you're inferring. You know what you're doing when you do that. When you saw Erica Kirk, did you say to her that you believed there's something suspicious about Michael McCoy? Was she able to explain to you why there isn't? Or does she share your view that he is somehow complicit in this in some way?
Well, we actually dedicated more time to speaking about his father, who I think it's strange to me that man calls himself a pastor. I communicated fully that everything about that man makes my skin crawl. I think he's a bad person. I think he's involved with bad people. And this is obviously Mikey's a son. And, I asked a bit about Rob McCoy and Mikey McCoy's relationship. I would just like to be clear. I am not going to be emotionally conditioned to believe that asking questions when we aren't getting any answers is the crime itself. The crime was when Charlie got shot in the neck. So,
but you've already said, you've already said though, you told
the easiest way to remove, the easiest way, let me finish. You can't ask me questions, not let me finish.
You're contradicting what you've just said to me. You said to me earlier,
what did I contradict?
You said you gave 2 names of people in the Turning Point organization that you believe are complicit in some way. You gave those names, but you wouldn't name them because it wouldn't be right to do that. But you did name this guy, Mikey McCoy, who was the chief of staff.
Because his actions are strange. You're 2 different things. Really, Pierce, I think you're having trouble holding on to 2 buckets of thought here, okay? You said, in regards to someone that was complicit in murder, that is a very serious allegation. I gave them names of people that would not surprise me if they did have foreknowledge of Charlie Kirk's murder. You are now shifting gears and you're asking me about Mikey McCoy and why I am raising red flags about his behavior on that day. Because I believe his behavior on that day was weird. I think it's painfully obvious.
So do you believe he's been complicit? I don't know people
that don't duck when a shot comes down.
Complicit?
So I'm sorry that I have eyes and I am agreeing with the public that Mikey McCoy's behavior was weird on that day. Okay, these are 2 different things. Now, if I'm going to make an assertion that somebody had something to do with planning this murder, I better be damn sure. And if I said that on my podcast, right? That's all I'm saying. I had never made that claim that Mikey McCoy planned Charlie Kirk's assassination.
No, I think like a lot of the claims you're making it's difficult to work out what you're actually claiming. You're throwing a lot of mud in the air, including people's names, which immediately then has millions of people chasing after these guys on social media and thinking,
I'm sorry they get caught lying. Like, I'm sorry, what is this? This is like the public is actually being abused, okay? Let's stop pretending that the victim
are they, or do you just want them to think they are?
No, the public is being abused because you're basically saying, stop noticing that people at Turning Point USA are lying.
No, I'm not.
How dare Candace and the public know? Yes, you are.
No.
How dare Candace?
But when there's an emphatic repudiation of what you're saying.
If Mikey lies and Rob McCoy lies and Blake Neff lies, and yes, all of these people have lied on record after the assassination. And the public goes, hey, that's kind of a weird lie. You're like, how dare you put a target on their back by noticing that they're lying? I mean, what weird psychological operation is this?
Do you believe?
Lie.
Okay, but do you
Don't
believe?
lie.
Do you believe Erica Kirk has been lying about it?
She cooking him because his logic don't make sense, right? She is a pit bull. She's going to be a problem, right? And I'm not going to hit him with the Machba on this one. I'm not going to hit him with the great Machba. But don't be surprised if something happens very soon to Candace, right? Her plane just mysteriously goes down. She mysteriously healthy, has a heart attack, or you dig what I'm talking about? The brakes go out in her vehicle. a large rock falls off a mountainside, or don't be surprised if you hear something like this about Candace Parker, because she is not going to let this go.
No, I have been explicit on my show when people were saying, why aren't you attacking Erica Kirk? I said, because Erica Kirk has not lied. If to the extent that she lies, I will call it out. And that is why I did call out when she lied. Okay. When she said Charlie Kirk never received any text messages the night before saying that he was worried about that he was going to get murdered tomorrow. I instantly said, well, here we have it. That's a lie. He definitively did send out text messages to both Dan Flood and Andrew Kolba. And when we met in person, she clarified that, okay, yes, that's real. And we didn't know until you said it because he was using a different app and she was checking his iMessages. So to me, if you lie, you're going to make an enemy of me. Just don't lie. How about that basic requirement to say to people, don't lie about what happened on that day. Don't lie about what you did on that day, because that's the first clue to investigators that that person should be looked at further.
All
Again,
right.
this is common sense.
Okay, let's move to something else Blake Neff said. He said Candace has made other stranger allegations involving French paratroopers in maroon shirts, Egyptian Air Force planes flying out of Provo, Utah, and potential underground assassins traveling through unseen tunnels. At one point in early November, she started wildly throwing suspicion on members of Utah Valley's soccer team for wearing hoodies. I could go on. There's always something new coming up. None of it ever pans out because from the start, there's been nothing there. What do you say to that?
He's lying. And that's the reason why Blake Neff is a suspicious character. I mean, him saying that I pointed to a soccer UVU person is complete fiction. I never had discussed that person on my show. Somebody was asking for a clearer photo of the person on X, and I shared it. No suspicion. Never said this person had anything to do with anything. I never covered him as a suspect on my show of anything at all. Didn't ask for more information on this person. That kid instantly responded and said, oh, those are our school colors. And that was it. And Turning Point tried to turn it into a thing. Why are you doing that? Regarding the Egyptian planes, that's a fact. Why are you saying she said that there was a military Egyptian plane on the ground that day? There was. In fact, there were two. So why are you pretending that that's like a weird thing to notice? And that is why people have been flagged about these planes. To his other,
let me ask you about the planes.
I'm never allowed to answer a single question that you say in entirety before you move on to the next
question. You
question.
can't just keep talking ad infinitum. I'm allowed to ask you another question.
No, it's called answering. You just read an entire statement of multiple points of Blake's. I got to the second point, and you're like, let me ask you a question.
No, I want to ask you. No,
you already asked me a question. I'm trying to answer the question that you asked.
No, I want to ask you a follow-up specifically about the Egyptian planes, given you've now addressed it, which is, where is the evidence that any of these Egyptian planes were tracking Erica Kirk?
I am going to be publishing the full document because there's not even just two planes, there's actually 4 planes that have been flying in, and I should be more thorough because I realize that can I just please, without you cutting me off, answer one thing? Okay, thank you. These Egyptian planes, more broadly speaking, now that we have gone deeper onto the planes, recognizing that the reaction to them is not normal, what we can say is that these Egyptian planes are tied to Israel. They've been flying in and out of Israel with their transponder off for years. But regarding the Turning Point USA picture, more broadly speaking, Turning Point USA faith, okay? Obviously, Erica has been involved in a lot of the church stuff. It's not specifically tracking just Erica. It's Turning Point faith events. Broadly speaking, I gave that information as well. I told Justin Strife and Erica, I'm happy to give you this color-coded spreadsheet. There's no question there's a correlation here between Turning Point USA faith in particular, which, by the way, from the beginning of this, I've said something is wrong with this faith contingent, especially because Rob McCoy for a while was heading up that department, and he makes the skin crawl. And so, yeah, I have the evidence for that. And we're going to actually publish it on our website. So there can be no question, which I should have done from the very beginning.
But let me ask you.
Showing that these planes were tracking Charlie. At various times there where Erica is, various times there where Rob McCoy is. But the consistent thread here is faith events, like Kingdom to the Capitol tour.
Assuming you're right, and I don't know, but I know Erica Kirk, when asked about this, said on CBS, if you want to go through my flight log, go right ahead. It's very boring. You, Candace, say I was here on this date. I have a photo on my phone to prove I was actually in hospital having contractions. So that's one thing she's directly repudiated. But let's assume for a moment you're right, and that all these Egyptian planes were flying around tracking Charlie Kirk and Turning Point, Faith and Erica Kirk. Why? What are they? What is your theory?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
I don't
what's
know.
your
That's- I
theory
don't
then?
know.
You must have an
My
idea.
theory is that we should investigate everything strange that happened on that day so we can figure out what happened.
But are you
That's just literally
suggesting
just called an
that? Are you
investigation.
suggesting
Why is everybody
Egypt?
so? Why are we pretending that we don't know why we ask questions? Like why? Like you're a journalist.
But you've
You
got to
know
have
what
a
this
theory.
is. You're like, what's going on? What's
What's
going
your
on? Why do you
theory?
want to know why these planes were tracking Charlie? Well, my theory is that we are being sold absolute Fed slop. The media is doing their Operation Mockingbird Part 2 scenario by telling us, well, unless you absolutely have a conclusion, you can't even ask the question. Yes, we very well
But it
damn
may
can.
be,
Keep
Candace.
asking consistent questions until we get a clarified explanation for what happened on that day. And right now, we have nothing. Okay. And that is the reason why people are watching my show, because I'm the only one not treating them like they're absolute idiots who don't have two eyes and who believe in magic bullet theory and who understand that Egyptian planes should not have been tracking Charlie even 3 times this year would be an anomaly.
But Candace,
okay. They've been tracking him. We don't know where it's going to end, but we are going to keep asking questions until we get clear answers.
Candace, it may be that the person in the media spewing bullshit to the public is you.
No, nice try. It's not. It's
Could
you
be.
by saying, why are you asking questions? Don't you worry about Mikey's feelings? Everyone knows what this is. And like I said, because we have the example, the concrete example of after JFK's assassination, the media members quite literally being put on the payroll of the CIA, we have a historical example that we can look at and go, we're not doing that again. Doesn't matter how many times you keep telling the public that I'm spewing bullshit. It is only because there has not been anything that has come out of this investigation that makes any sense that the public is not listening to. I am sorry to say this, Piers, people like you. And what I love about you and I sitting down is at this exact same time last year, you were doing the same weird questioning and making all these things when I said that they were committing a Holocaust against the Gazans. And then you changed your mind.
Actually,
Piers,
this time,
I'll see you next.
Now, this is why she's getting the pressure. Yep, it was going to come around to it. You dig what I'm talking about? This is why he kept trying to press. Well, who do you think, and what is your conclusion? And you must have a premise. And he was trying to get her to say this, right? That in the back end of that shit, you dig what I'm talking about? And this is what Pierce is always angling towards, because he's a Zionist shield. He's a sellout, a pure sellout, right? And this is what he's angling towards the whole time, to get Israel into the conversation, right? So he kept pivoting. You dig what I'm talking about? Yeah, I ain't like her. I ain't like her at first either, but she admitted that she was being played. She was like, I didn't know. I ain't, you know what I mean? And, you know, they just got a little intelligent black girl about the hood. You dig what I'm talking about? Who can't nobody outsmart. And they, you know, they sicked her on her own people. She didn't, you know, she wasn't raised with no, you know, she ain't got no street in her, no real ninja in her, no, I can't say she ain't got loyalty, right? You can't say she ain't got loyalty. She riding hard for this boy Charlie. You dig what I'm talking about? And she is exposing a lot of stuff. She not going into the dark. She dragging them into the light. It's a difference. Huh? Could she be controlled opposition? She was at one point. That's the point. Yeah, that's the point. She was controlled opposition. She admitted that she was being paid to do that. But now that she figured out that she was duped, and they didn't, they just like they always do. They're gonna use you till they use you up. They feel they don't need you no more. They just kick you to the curb. She didn't go quietly into the dark. That's the difference. She didn't go quietly into the dark. She turned that same pit bull that they was sicking on the people and turned around and bit them. Now it's a problem. And she's shaking hard, and they can't deal with this woman.
year
Actually,
when you change your mind again and we have more information about what happened and you realize that the difference between me and you is that I have the courage to take the risks and ask the questions first before it's popular. You wait until it becomes popular and then you change your mind.
You may remember that one of your courageous moves was to repeatedly tell the world that Brigitte Macron is a man. As you now know,
and she is.
As you now know, we had a 300.
And now if y'all ain't heard about this, if y'all ain't heard about this, Candace is getting sued because she exposed that the so-called wife of the president of France is actually a man. She exposed it. Oh, man, listen. And if the man's real, listen, this is about to be bad when this come out. Right? It's about to be bad. She better had already got zipped and tucked already. Because if Macron is actually Jean-Michel, this is going to be bad. Yep. She kept denying it. Yep, she kept denying it. Oh, I'm not a man. Yep. Now she applying so much pressure. You dig? And the crazy part is Candace didn't come out with this. It was French journalists that found this. Right? So the work had already been done. They just put it in Candace's hands. She checked it, right? And got the funds and all that stuff to go even further. Right? So she put what research had already been proven out there. And boy, Macron is a man. Ooh.
The $1,000 bet to charity about this because she's a woman.
Yes.
Is my view.
She's not a woman.
Well, we're going to find out is the point because it's going to court. They're suing you. And when she proves, as she will, that she's a woman, because it's very easy to prove, and you lose that case, then
so easy that she refuses to do it for years.
But then it will become more obvious to people that, look, I think you're a brilliant operator at what you do. That's, I like you personally. You know that, right? None of this is personal for me about you at all. I just have watched him last year from Brigitte Macron now into the Charlie Kirk story. I think you've developed a modus operandi, which, to put it politely, is you flying what we would call in the world of journalism kites and just seeing what can cause the most merry hell, therefore get you the biggest audience, therefore make you the most amount of money. And people have, as you know, you've been widely attacked now by a lot of people who say that you're just a ghoul, a vulture. You're doing this deliberately. You're inventing things or just flying ludicrous conspiracy theories to make money. Now, again, Candace, I don't know that you are, but I do know.
Celebrity.
Can you not interrupt me?
I do think it's pretty rich. It's pretty rich coming from you is all I'm going to say. That's me putting it very nicely, given your background, your career, your celebrity involvement, the Princess Diana. Wrong messenger is what I'll say right off the top, okay? Wrong messenger. What you are mistaking, or I guess we're not even mistaking because you know what this is. You're talking about power versus the people. And you are always on the side of power first. You're on the side of the Israelis. It's so horrible. And, I'm going to pretend I don't see tens of thousands of Gazans dying.
I've actually been very critical of the Israelis, as you know,
where
in the
your
last
bread
year.
Is buttered. Everybody
I've actually
knows
been very
Brigitte
critical of the
Macron
Israeli
has a
government.
penis, okay? It's very easy to present photos of 30 years of your life. Brigitte keeps teasing, Brigitte, nobody asked you for a blood test. We asked you for some photos and you refused to do it. And everybody knows that Charlie Kirk was not shot by Tyler Robinson on a rooftop. I am sorry that in this day and age, there seems to be such a shortage of testosterone that a woman has to be the person that states the obvious, right? I invite you to join me, and I know that you will by the end of next year because they're not going to get away with what they did to my friend Charlie Kirk. And I am not going to change my mind, least of all when I am being called names by someone who has quite a year background and experience in doing things because it's lucrative and not always because it's sensitive.
Sure,
it's always lovely.
You can call me a hypocrite as much as you want. I don't care. It's fine. I'm just simply saying what other people have been saying about you. I didn't say I felt that.
Thank you.
I said
I'll let you know what people are saying about you too. I'll keep you posted. People are saying
like
about you.
I read it all the time. But I would say that, like I said at the start of this interview, I don't know whether any of the things you're saying are true or not. I just do know you're saying a huge amount of stuff. It's making you very wealthy. You're getting millions and millions of people coming in, which by the way,
what is this idea that's making me very wealthy? Can you actually explain that slowly?
Yes, I'm going to explain it to you slowly because I had a huge run-in, for example.
This is just like a talking point.
No, I'm going to explain exactly what I mean.
Now they get the pocket watching, right? This is a small hat tactic, right? What she has done is she has barricaded herself to a sense to be shielded from direct attack from Zionists and Zionist media, right? They can't get to her people who fund her and help her, and you dig what I'm talking about. And because she has become a media figure through social media, she's funded through the people, right? And they can't stop it. There's nothing they can do, right? So they can't threaten her. So she's not scared of, any economic turn that they could force onto her or into her life or onto her family. You dig what I'm saying? She's sort of insulated in that way, right? Because she knew who she was going after, right? Now, of course, when you start talking about Mr. Small Hat, you dig what I'm talking about. You gonna get that call to listen. You gonna have to come on to Israel and let us talk to you. You dig what I'm talking about? She didn't take the call. She didn't go. You dig what I'm talking about? She didn't go. So she is a threat. And if they try to wreck you financially, right? That's the first thing they try to do. Smut up your name and then wreck you financially, right? And when they can't do that, they try to kill you. So y'all, man, as faithists, man, y'all put a prayer up for this sister. She done came a long way. You dig what I'm talking about? Y'all put a prayer up that her Ashars keep her safe. You dig what I'm saying? That they might have to, hit her with the George Washington. You dig what I'm talking about? Make the bullet pass through or something. You dig what I'm saying? Because, hey, they about to get this woman. She is a threat.
When Sandy Hook happened and Alex Jones began weaponizing the Sandy Hook tragedy and weaponizing the grief of the poor parents who'd lost their children, and I began to attack him in public. And then eventually there was a court case, and it turned out he'd been spewing deliberate lies, and that every time he spewed them, they found he made hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in the immediate aftermath of spewing the repeated lies that it was all staged and the families were actors and so on, which he knew to be lies. And he made himself extremely rich and ended up with $1 billion defamation finding against him because he'd been deliberately weaponizing people's grief. And the charge...
Yeah, I'm asking you to explain the actual financial metrics. How was he making money?
I'm explaining to you the analogy, which is there are, as you know, right now, a lot of people, from Tim Pool to the New York Post to others, who've come out very stridently in the last week, and say that's exactly what you've been doing with Erica Kirk.
Yeah, but you haven't answered the question. So this is just made up. As I said, this is a soft fluff. You're suggesting that I'm making money. Did I sign a new advertiser? Are we reading more? Are we reading more ads? Do we put this somewhere else? Do we sign
the more
a book
views
deal
you get on YouTube, the more money you make.
Did I sell a T-shirt? Okay, but come on now, Piers. Money on YouTube? Are you kidding me? I was already in a top 10 podcast globally before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And if you think that I would want my friend to be assassinated so I could go from being in the top 5 to being number 1, you're out of your mind.
No,
okay,
I'm telling you,
it's so disrespectful. But like the point is that everyone who is saying that I'm making more money cannot say how I'm making more money because it's just not true. Okay, so you're like, oh, she got a bump in viewership talking about Charlie.
Your YouTube numbers
everyone in the world because it was a public assassination. And then it went up in the weeks following, and it went back to normal.
Candace, are your YouTube numbers up since you've been doing the Charlie Kirk investigations?
What I am saying to you is that this is the exact same argument you guys had about Brigitte. So it can't, and then the same exact same
but I think you were lying about Brigitte.
About the Blake Lively thing. Okay, but what about the Blake Lively thing? So you can't keep saying that, oh, she's always in the top 10 because she's talking about something. Or this is my podcast and it's me. It's just me. People enjoy my podcast because I don't treat them like they're idiots. I don't treat them like they should accept that Brigitte Macron just can't present one photo of herself raising her kids across 30 years. It's just too much to
Brigitte
ask.
Macron
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. How dare you? It's such an
Brigitte
intrusion of
Macron-
privacy. She'd rather file a transatlantic lawsuit
Candace.
than to just produce photos and put all of this to
Candace,
bed.
Brigitte
That's the
Macron-
difference between you and I. So now there's this repeat live from Kamala Chronicles, which we did looking into Kamala's background because it was relevant to the election cycle. Then we did the Blake Lively lawsuit, and they said, oh, she's trying to change her brand. That's the only reason her numbers are up. Then we went to Brigitte, which I lost, by the way. I had to get a whole career change when I first covered that story. So joke's on me if I'm doing this to make money, but I was willing to be fired to tell the truth. And then it's all about Brigitte. And now we've arrived at Charlie Kirk. I feel like there's something about that actually is just people not being willing to admit that what people appreciate about me and why they keep coming back is that I'm willing to take risks to tell the truth.
No, I think so. Don't get me wrong. I think
I was already sold out on ads at the end of the year because our podcast was successful.
Yeah,
I have not sold a t-shirt, nothing with his name on it. It's just me.
Candace, the reason I told the Alex Jones story is he did incredibly well out of Sandy Hook with his investigations. But as was established in the court case against him, brought by the families eventually, and I think we're going to see the same thing with Brigitte Macron and you, is that he was weaponizing deliberate lies for money. And I think
Brigitte Macron has a penis. I really want you to know that.
Brigitte Macron does not have a penis.
Brigitte Macron has a penis.
No, she doesn't.
I'm sorry.
She had 3 children.
Did she get it removed?
She had 3 children.
Yeah, you can have adoptive children. You can call somebody, but Brigitte Macron was born a dude named Jean-Michel Trogneau.
Well,
and I just feel, I want you to know that. I want you to know that Brigitte Macron probably stands peeing up. Probably pees standing up.
The beauty is we have a big bet. We have a big bet, and we're going to find out because it's going to and you will lose that.
I didn't expect that. Man, he said, hold on, man. Wait. That was a good one.
No, she doesn't.
I'm sorry.
She had 3 children.
Did she get it removed?
She had 3 children.
Yeah, you can have adoptive children. You can call somebody. But Brigitte Macron was born a dude named Jean-Michel Trogneau.
Well,
and I just feel, I want you to know that. I want you to know that Brigitte Macron probably stands peeing up. Probably pees standing up.
The beauty is we have a big bet.
I think Brigitte
we have
stands.
a big bet, and we're going to find out because it's going to court. And you will lose that court case. I think you will.
Yeah. I am not going to lose a court case because Brigitte is presenting evidence that Brigitte was born a woman, because that's never even been offered. That's just their PR coming after and saying these things. Nobody believes that Brigitte Macron is just unable to present any pictures. Nobody's asking for blood.
All right, let's wait for the court case. Let's wait for the court case.
Okay, great.
Now, look,
and you will be proven wrong again unless
the
there's
fallout,
just federal corruption.
Okay, in the fallout from your encounter with Erica Kirk, Nick Fuentes said Candace Owens is done.
Out.
What a letdown.
Oh, LOL.
Tim Pool has called you evil. He says you're motivated by the fact you were secretly in love with.
I disagree. A person with the 5 subscribers in the made-up account, Grammy 65. I disagree. I think she's taking the high road. Right? Yeah. Are you watching a different video? Right? You sound like you. If there's a saying that goes that, in dark times, you know what I mean? There are people who come around and claim that darkness is light and light is dark. Sounds kind of like you, Grammy. I think you trolling. You dig what I'm talking about? I think you trolling. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. You sub, like, share, man. Thumb up the video. You dig what I'm saying? Share it to your social media. You just made the channel, right? You got like 5 subscribers and no views. You don't even got a post. So it's a troll channel. So, but you dig what I'm saying? She's definitely taking the higher light. You dig what I'm talking about? She understands it.
Charlie Kirk. Is that true?
This is such ridiculous. Like, this is what I mean when I say, like, it's like LOL Fed slop. Oh, did Tim Pool say that I was secretly in love with him? This is, it's so, come on, there's no substance to this. This is so ridiculous. It's by any means necessary. Come out and attack Candace. The New York Post did an article that it was honestly amazing fan fiction. They even said that
Yeah, be careful around here, Grammy. These some wild Indians around here. These boys got pistols in the chat. You can think these faith is soft if you want, you will get shot around here. Them boys put you in the back so fast. I'd be cool if I was you.
We used to work at Daily Wire. I'd throw my keys at my staff, and my staff hated me. I did not drive to work a single day when I was at the Daily Wire. They had a driver take me there. So we're just now in this weird spot where they're just making things up every single day. They said that my husband had a Qatari passport, and I just ignore it. And I keep investigating because I know what it's meant to do. It's meant to distract me. I'm very aware of what these people are trying to do, and it's not working. So I don't really feel
Which of your theories?
Which of your theories? Fuentes and Tim Pool.
All right. Which of your theories, when you were with Erica, did she think was convincing?
We didn't. What do you mean by that?
Well, did she think that Israel was involved? Did she think that there were French paratroopers involved? Did she think the Egyptian planes were complicit? Did she believe that Turning Point employees were involved? Which of the many theories
I wasn't. I guess.
Did she think is actually got any merit to it?
I think you're characterizing it like I sat down and tried to convince her of my theories. That wasn't the nature of the meeting that we had. I shared information with her and told her, what the feds were ignoring, and these are the things I'm looking into. Obviously, explained to her about the Egyptian planes and this bizarre connection to, Turning Point faith events and tours. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of like sharing the information with her. So there was nothing that.
But again, here's my problem, Candace, with the whole thing. Everything is like, you're just asking questions, you're sharing information, you're doing it. But when I actually ask you to be specific about, well, who do you think did what? That's where it all hits a shuddering halt. You don't know, do you? You don't actually know anything.
Of course, if I actually knew who shot Charlie Kirk, I would be instantly publicizing it. I'd say, I figured it out. That's not how an investigation works. Pierce just doesn't work like that, okay? You have to follow the clues until you arrive at a conclusion. Of course, I cannot confidently state that it was, John.
She is beating the brakes off of Pierce. This is bad. She is clowning him, man. And she is exposing his Zionist talking point, and also his, how would I say, government leaning ideals of just dumb up and put the blinders on. You dig what I'm saying? They really want you to be stupid. Right? And she is cooking this man alive.
John Smith, who shot Charlie Kirk from the left side. I don't know that yet. I don't know that information yet. And when I do know it, I will publicize it without question. I just
am pointing out
the inconsistencies, the lies. He was not shot with 30-06, and he did not have a Man of Steel neck,
how do you
and
know?
That's completely made up. Well, actually, that's going to be my show today. I do now factually know that Man of Steel thing was made up, and that never came from the surgeon's mouth. So again, we have another lie. We have another lie coming out of Turning Point USA. It put in quotation marks that lie, that it was a direct quote from the surgeon. That was made up. So yeah, I'm going to keep track of all of these lies, deliver them to the public, and allow them to surmise. I'm going to allow them to think critically while it's still legal. I know it's barely legal in the UK, and it's becoming increasingly less legal here in the United States. So I'm going to use every opportunity to ask every question.
Okay, but pre the meeting with Erica, you repeatedly questioned why we weren't being told where Charlie Kirk is buried, or even if he has been buried yet. Did you get those answers?
You have the wrong commentator who questioned that. I think that was Milo Yiannopoulos.
You've never questioned, you've never asked where Charlie's buried?
Nope. I just communicated to the people that he had a Catholic funeral mass, because people were saying I was lying about him going to a Catholic church, which was another random attack that I had to endure. So I never said that people don't know where Charlie Kirk's buried. That's just the wrong commentator.
Do you know where he's been buried?
I actually genuinely never got to that question with Erica, but I do know where he's. I think the implication that Milo made, again, you'd have to ask him, was that he's not buried. I do know where there is a spot for him to be buried or to be held in a mausoleum, but I never, that's just, yeah, you have the wrong person on that.
Erica was emphatic in the CBS thing that she wanted you to stop with the conspiracy theories, or maybe you've got it all right and all of this stuff is true and it's all involving the Israelis and Egypt and Turning Point in a mass conspiracy with this young kid, Tyler Robinson, brought in, and they're all involved in this dramatic murder of Charlie Kirk. Maybe let's just assume for a moment you're 100% right. But she did tell you publicly before you met to stop. What's clear is you're not going to stop. So is she okay with you now continuing to talk about your theories, or does she still want you to stop?
Well, she didn't ask me to stop. If that's the question that you're asking, is throughout that meeting,
Well, she did publicly, obviously. So your response to that is what?
I'm telling you that then we had a conversation and I was not asked throughout that conversation to stop. And to the contrary, I shared information that I had and I got information from them.
Right.
That helps.
So you will carry on.
Focus.
You will carry on.
Yes.
With the theories.
Yes. Until I feel confident of who killed Charlie Kirk, I will not stop investigating this.
And Erica is okay with you doing that?
I don't know how many other ways to answer your question other than saying she did not ask me or request for me to stop in person. And when we spoke about that moment, she felt that Barry Weiss was being Barry Weiss.
And she made no request of you whatsoever, Erica Kirk, in 4.5 hours.
Request in what sense?
About how she would like you to conduct yourself about the murder of her husband going forward?
No.
Nothing at all?
No, she didn't make a request for me to conduct myself in any way.
And she expressed no concern about any of the
theories
theories that you've been
I
putting
think
out.
she probably knows me through the lens of her husband. So I don't know if that would be a thing that she would have done. But no, she did not. She did not ask me to conduct myself in any way. That seems to just be coming from the media of how I should conduct myself.
Am I right in thinking that your mind has taken you to a place where you genuinely believe that Israel, Egypt, Turning Point employees, and Tyler Robinson, and potentially others, but they were all involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Well, to be fair, I think we're all putting Egypt in parentheses because we kind of don't think that we have exactly a strong Egyptian lobby here in the United States. And there is a lot of historical precedent with Israel kind of using Egyptian planes or using the Egyptian narrative when they want to accomplish things. So, I mean, I just pointed out that this is an Egyptian plane, but Israel, I got tons of questions about. Yeah, I think Israel is a very good place to start when Bibi Netanyahu was just denying and just way too involved in the beginning. That was weird. Everyone felt it was weird, and they were right to feel that it was weird. And when Bibi admits that he called him 2 weeks before and invited him to Israel, like, what's that about? People are being, and also because it just happens to be that from the very beginning, Zionists don't want us investigating the Charlie Kirk assassination. So it's just, I would say, the usual suspects. You are correct that I have and sent information, and it has not been denied by the Élysée Palace, the White House, or the Pentagon, that the French Foreign Legion was on the ground that day. Again, something that I flagged to Turning Point USA as Justin Strife, that for whatever reason, the feds don't want this information, which is a bit strange, or don't seem to be interested, or maybe
so we add the French Foreign Legion to the list as well.
Yeah, but the French Foreign Legion is like a bandit of, I mean, what I've learned about them now is it's like it's a bunch of different countries. It's not just French people. And yeah, that all sounds about right to me. Is there anything else I can answer?
I think we probably covered it. It's a lot of people involved in this murder. And my guess, Candice, for what it's worth, is
Did Nicki Minaj just make the biggest gaffe ever?
You have amazing role models like the assassin J.D. Vance, our vice president.
She called J.D. Vance an assassin in a conversation with, of all people, Erica Kirk, whose husband Charlie was assassinated just 4 months ago. The singer realizes her
It's cringeworthy. It's cringeworthy. Hold on, let me see if this came through. No sound. Hold on, let me run it back. Let me run it back. Okay. Hit me with some fire emojis. Make sure y'all can hear this. I'm about to play it back one more time. Let's go. This is cringeworthy. This is now. This is the wife of Charlie Kirk, the nigga who just got assassinated. Watch this.
Nicki Minaj just make the biggest gaffe ever?
You have amazing role models like the assassin J.D. Vance, our vice president.
She called J.D. Vance an assassin in a conversation with, of all people, Erica Kirk, whose husband Charlie was assassinated just 4 months ago. The singer realizes her blunder and looks mortified. But Erica gracefully brushes it off.
Trust me, there's nothing new under the sun that I have not heard, so you're fine.
It was a surprising pairing at the Turning Point USA conference. The rapper, whose songs are often R-rated, sitting down with the new leader of a conservative Christian movement.
I love this woman. She's an amazing woman.
Meanwhile, Michael Jackson's family is blasting the Trump administration today for linking the pop star to Jeffrey Epstein. A photo of Bill Clinton with Michael Jackson and Diana Ross is among the Epstein files just released by the Department of Justice. It was reposted by a Trump spokesperson with the caption, "Here is a picture of Bill Clinton with his arm around Michael Jackson and redacted individuals." But it turns out the photo was taken at a 2003 Democratic fundraiser, and those aren't Epstein victims. They're actually Michael Jackson's kids, Prince and Paris. And that other kid is Diana Ross's son. Jackson's nephew, Taj, is claiming the White House is part of a smear campaign against his late uncle. The Justice Department is facing criticism for heavily redacting the Epstein files. 500 pages are totally blacked out.
There's no effort to hold anything back because there's the name Donald J. Trump or anybody else.
Now we got some new news on that too. They just released today like 1,100 more pages or something like that. I'm gonna show that real quick too. We just chopping it up, man. We just showing what's going on.
His name. We're not redacting the names of famous men and women that are associated with Epstein.
SNL poked fun at all that black ink.
We had to redact a few sensitive things, but you'll get the gist here. Look at this. Trump didn't do nothing bad.
Okay. 1 second. Watch this. Watch. Chuck Schumer. Sued the Senate. Right? To force a vote on the DOJ. Dig what I'm talking about? To get them Epstein papers. Watch this.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says he will force the Senate to vote on suing the Justice Department for the full release of the Epstein files when the body reconvenes on January 5th. It's part of a larger push from Congress to compel the DOJ to comply with the spirit and letter of the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Schumer made that announcement on social media yesterday. The Democrat accusing the Trump administration of breaking the law after the DOJ missed last Friday's deadline of releasing all the documents required by the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which, of course, President Trump signed into law in November. Instead, only a fraction of the total files relating to Epstein have been released so far. At the same time, President Trump is making his first public remarks about the Epstein files since Friday's partial document release. He reiterated he never visited Epstein's private island while calling the controversy a Democratic distraction from his accomplishments.
This whole thing is with Epstein is a way of trying to deflect from the tremendous success that the Republican Party has. Like, for instance, today we're building the biggest ships in the world, most powerful ships in the world, and they're asking me questions about Jeffrey Epstein.
But we don't care about your warships. We don't care how many people you're gonna kill. We got enough ships. We got enough instruments to kill men. All right? No. What's more important is who on that list. Who can we ban, blackball, run up out of here? Put up under the stranglehold in the boot, proverbially. If you ain't one of them, then you ain't got nothing to worry about, right? We understand the play that you trying to put down on Venezuela. You dig what I'm saying? You trying to pull a coup in Venezuela, right? Trying to change a whole regime, right? But remember, it's just been a few years since the United States came in and put the man that's in there now, Maduro. The Democrats put him in there just a couple years ago. You see how the U.S. come in, and you dig what I'm talking about? These boys is bullies for real. You dig what I'm talking about? U.S. is a monster out here, but we don't care nothing about all these ships and killing and none of that, cuz we want to see what's on that list. Oh, yeah. We want to see if Elon on there. We want to see how many senators and judges, right? So we got a reason to get you up out of here.
I thought that was finished. I believe they gave over 100,000 pages of documents. And there is tremendous backlash. It's an interesting question because a lot of people are very angry that pictures are being released of other people that really had nothing to do with Epstein, but they're in a picture with him because he was at a party, and you ruin the reputation of somebody. So a lot of people are very angry that this continues. A lot of Republicans are angry because of the fact that it's just used to deflect against a tremendous success.
Except that a lot of Republicans voted for these files to be released in the first place. In fact, only one House Republican voted against it. President Trump, though, also specifically commented on former President Bill Clinton, who has also appeared in some of the released pictures. You see some of them on the screen, along with a handful of other celebrities, though no evidence suggested any were involved in criminal activities.
I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago. And they're, highly respected bankers and lawyers and others.
Now, a spokesman for former President Clinton released a statement on social media calling the selective release.
But we got to ask the question, why is this man important? Why does he get to meet all these celebrities, bankers, important people, if he ain't got no ties to the United States government or ties to another government? We done heard about the Mossad connection, huh? We know who Ghislaine Maxwell daddy is. Shit, Ghislaine Maxwell worked for Mossad. So the dude she rock with don't. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let them sell you that.
Of documents, an act of, quote, protection for someone or something, but argued that Clinton needed no such protection. The statement also urged President Trump to direct his Attorney General Pam Bondi to release all remaining materials mentioning Clinton. Also new, as we come on the air right now, our team's going through a batch of tens of thousands of documents that appeared to be from the Epstein files that were briefly posted on the DOJ website yesterday. They were there, and then they disappeared without explanation. I think they're back now. The material included thousands of more government documents and emails, as well as several dozen videos from the Bureau of Prisons. The files include wide-ranging references to the president, but we should note that being mentioned, of course, does not demonstrate criminal wrongdoing. The DOJ did not immediately respond to questions about why these documents had been posted and then apparently removed. Want to bring in White House reporter for The Hill, Julia Manchester. Julia, we saw that reaction there from President Trump to Friday's initial release of these files. What stood out to you about the way that he spoke about it? And does it match what administration officials are telling you behind the scenes about the way that this story has had really impressive staying power from an administration and in an era where we are regularly ping-ponging between stories with a short attention span because the news cycle forces us to be that way?
Yeah, good morning, Allie. I was really struck, I think, by what President Trump had to say about former President Bill Clinton, a one-time ally and friend, now somewhat of a political opponent. At least we know that Hillary Clinton was a political opponent of Bill Clinton's. And, President Trump seemed to almost defend Bill Clinton there, calling it a terrible thing. Maybe it was a defense, maybe it was more of a deflection there, pointing to the troves of images of Bill Clinton, many of them unflattering in that release of the Epstein files. But going back to his response, yes, I think it matches with what the administration has said behind the scenes, is that this is a distraction, and they clearly, and they're very open saying this, President Trump is very open saying this, they don't want to be talking about this. For example, yesterday, we saw President Trump speaking at Mar-a-Lago, wanting to announce the golden fleet of Navy ships, new Navy ships that will be built, and talking about what he says is the progress made in targeting alleged narco-terrorists in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific. But instead, and President Trump even said this, instead he's asked about the Epstein files. So this continues to be the story that literally follows President Trump wherever he goes, and it's probably going to follow him.
Well, we got some breaking news. Breaking news, breaking news. You dig what I'm talking about? Let's get to it.
We have some breaking news to report on this Tuesday, as the U.S. Justice Department has released, I should say, several more files related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. Taking a look here at a social media post from the U.S. Department of Justice, it says this: the Department of Justice has officially released nearly 30,000 more pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had a shred of credibility, they would certainly have been weaponized against President Trump already. Nevertheless, out of our commitment to the law and transparency, the DOJ is releasing these documents with the legally required protections for Epstein's victims. Several news agencies also reporting on this as well, and I do want to reference some reporting courtesy of our partners at Reuters as I bring up some more of the footage that had been released. This picture, some of these in particular, were released from the Oversight Dems on their social media account on X. But Reuters saying this, that the U.S. Department has released new trove of documents from its investigations into the late financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, including CCTV videos and legal records. The latest release comprises around 29,000 pages with many redactions and dozens of video clips, including several purporting to be shot inside a prison. Epstein was found dead in 2019 after an apparent suicide in a New York jail. Now, the latest material comes a few days after the Trump administration published a large cache of Epstein files in an attempt to comply with a new law forcing disclosure on the politically fraught topic. However, the releases on Friday and Saturday contained extensive redactions, angering and doing little to diffuse a scandal threatening the party ahead of 2026 midterm elections. On Monday, President Trump downplayed the importance of the Epstein files. Speaking to reporters, he said the material was, quote, just used to deflect against tremendous success by him and his fellow Republicans. The new transparency law, overwhelmingly passed by Congress last month, mandated the disclosure of all Epstein files, despite President Trump's months-long effort to keep them sealed. That was according to reporting from Reuters. So that is the latest breaking news that we have on this Tuesday. As we continue to hear more calls from Congress members and the wider public alike for the release of more documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Over the weekend, a reminder that we also reported that some of those files had disappeared on Saturday after being released on Friday. The Department of Justice and several of the lawmakers involved in that said it was because they still needed time to redact sensitive information from the survivors. It also comes as just yesterday on Monday, a judge scolded Jeffrey Epstein's longtime confidant, Ghislaine Maxwell, for including confidential victim names in court papers seeking to set aside her 2021 sex trafficking conviction and free her from a 20-year prison sentence. You just saw Ghislaine Maxwell in one of the photos there on the screen. Here we're just rotating to some more of the photos that had been released, always viewer discretion advised. But going back to this, Judge Paul Engelmeyer said exhibits included with Maxwell's habeas petition, which she filed on her own without a lawyer, will be kept under seal and out of public view, quote, until they have been reviewed and appropriately redacted to protect the identities of those victims. So that is the latest regarding Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, any new developments, will bring them to you here at Live Now from Fox.
They're ramping.
I wanted to show y'all, right, real quick. Hold on real quick. Before we go into this, I want to show y'all what they telling y'all is going on in Venezuela. You dig what I'm talking about? Watch this.
President Donald Trump is warning the Venezuelan president as the U.S. Coast Guard increases efforts to interdict oil tankers in the Caribbean Sea. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with the details.
This morning, President Trump ramping up pressure on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro amid questions of whether the U.S. is pursuing regime change in the Latin American country.
Ultimate goal in Venezuela to force Maduro from power.
Well, I think it probably would. I can't tell that. That's up to him what he wants to do. I think it would be smart for him to do that. But
the president says the U.S. is still actively pursuing what it claims is a sanctioned oil tanker that fled into the Atlantic Ocean after the Coast Guard tried to intercept it on Sunday. It marks the third time in less than 2 weeks that the U.S. has targeted oil tankers they say are linked to Venezuela. The president was asked about his end goal.
He can do whatever he wants. It's all right. Whatever he wants to do. If he wants to do something, if he plays tough, it'll be the last time he's ever able to play tough.
On Monday, Maduro sent a letter to the United Nations calling the U.S. seizures of tankers acts of piracy and illegal acts of violence. The administration has accused Maduro of sending drugs to the U.S. and of stealing U.S. oil assets, but has not provided evidence. It comes as the president says he's prepared to build roughly 24 powerful battleships, a resurrected class of 1990s era vessels named after himself. Trump says the goal is to build up to 25 battleships, in part to inspire fear in America's enemies all over the world. The Navy says the cost of the ships has not been nailed down yet, but a retired admiral says the first ship could top $10 billion to build. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
Now, so we see he, in effect, trying to effect we see that, in effect, Trump is trying to affect regime change, right? And basically, but basically, he's trying to provoke Venezuela to react to his actions, and when they do, he gonna open up war on them, and it's gonna be a coup. It's a regime change under the auspices of, oh, we were attacked. You know what I mean? Now it's now we done heightened up the threat level, and now we're going to get them. Right? They're gonna create a situation that they already got an answer for, right? And basically, they want to kill Maduro and get him up out of there. You dig what I'm saying? That's the whole thing. Now, this is a video from the watch list, and it says that a Trump stooge accidentally lets the real Venezuela scheme slip. I want y'all to watch this. Right? We just cooking early in the morning, man. Cushion coffee, man. All praise to the ever-present creator. You dig what I'm talking about? Spiritualism is not what they told you it was. It's realism, right? It's objective faithism. Faith ain't got nothing to do with belief. Faith has to do with knowledge. I know 2 + 2 is 4. I got faith that it's always going to be 4. That's the difference between belief and faith. Man, shout out to those who stand by the creator, man. You dig what I'm saying? Shout out to the gang. Shout out to the horsemen. You dig what I'm saying? My brothers, man, y'all go over there. Subscribe to Daryl Kosmon on Facebook, YouTube, Honor and Humility, STL with the brother Malachi Maccabee. You dig what I'm saying? Y'all go to Selah Shalom, Young King Selah. Put the belt to that boy Zion. Put a belt on that boy this weekend. I was so proud of him, man. Put a belt on that boy. You dig what I'm saying? Did it with dignity, just straight punches. Beat him up in front of Sinetta. You get beat up in front of your daddy. That's bad.
Up for aggressive military action over near Venezuela. Here's Scott Bessent.
I am very confident about job growth and the momentum that we've got for next year. And I think there's a very, very good chance that if something happens with Russia, Ukraine, if something happens down in Venezuela, that we could really see oil prices go down even more. And oil and gasoline prices are down substantially under President Trump. And that is really the key to affordability, is lower energy.
Scott Bessent is very nervous lately. He's always kind of been stuttering over his lies. But now he's included this weird hand motion that every time he says something, he's trying to work his brain through how to exactly point out how they're destroying the economy. Except on accident, Scott Bessent accidentally said, once we invade Venezuela and start taking oil, that's going to help with gas prices and food prices and energy all around. Because all we know how to do is invade countries and steal resources because we suck at everything. What a revelation from Scott.
Wait a minute. What? He said what? Wait, what? Hold on.
Work his brain through how to exactly point out how they're destroying the economy. Except on accident, Scott Bessent accidentally said, once we invade Venezuela and start taking oil, that's going to help with gas prices and food prices and energy all around. Because all we know how to do is invade countries and steal resources because we suck at everything. What a revelation from Scott Bessent. I'm not sure if he even realized he said that. If something happens down in Venezuela, we could see oil prices go down even more. Well, the first lie is that they're going down. But I think he revealed what is it? Donald Trump, again, on the campaign trail, revealed some time ago and what they feel about what Venezuela has to offer to them. That is, for them to steal from Venezuela.
How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
He's disappointed that we're purchasing oil when we could just invade and take it. They were sitting there ripe for the picking for us to be, these colonizing invaders and take more things. Because it's a criminal in the White House. All he knows how to do is steal, lie, cheat, and steal, and not even Eddie Guerrero's style of it. Here's Venezuela's ambassador to the UN talking about these ramping up of aggressions and potential invasions and fighting militarily in his country.
Everybody knows what's going on here. There is a killer prowling the Caribbean, bloodthirsty, looking for wars, and there is no justification at all. They are fabricating a war, and everybody should stop pretending that this is a complicated matter and face the truth. The emperor is naked. Nobody dares to say it, but the emperor is naked. In Latin America and the Caribbean, as in other regions of the world, the CIA is well known for its covert operations aimed at pushing processes of destabilization, sabotage, counterinsurgency, plannings of coup d'etat, and assassinations of heads of state and government with the purpose of installing.
Now, it would be nice if I could sit here and say, they lying on the government. Boy, they did everything he said and worse. The United States government has funded, right, or literally pulled off some of the most major atrocities in the world, and they wipe things clean. Or at least they think they do. They think nobody sees those deeds. But remember, you chose, right? When you chose to be in that service, you chose to take an oath to God. You forgot. You didn't know that your God is now not a bloodthirsty villain anymore. He's on the good guy side. Y'all didn't know that. See, y'all didn't know Christ been to hell already. Okay. What you talk about, Kosmon? I know, yeah, I know. But y'all didn't know that. So y'all already admit that y'all believe in a higher entity. Guess what? Well, that means somebody seen it. That means no deed goes unpunished. And many times you punish yourself. I'm trying to tell you. Sometimes you can bite off more than you can even chew. But everything that this man has just said that the government is guilty of, they are absolutely proven historically guilty of. Absolutely satanishly. Is that even a word? They are demonically guilty. Demonstratively guilty. Unequivocally guilty of, and worse.
Political systems subservient to the interests of the U.S. government, puppet governments.
The exposure keeps happening. Everyone knows. He pointed it out there. They're looking to continue to raid people's countries. Everything is based in them trying to cover up their bad policies, in this case economically, with ways that they think they can make things better by taking from someone else. That's just one theory. Very smart person here, Asha Rangappa. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of her. She's a former FBI special agent. she talked about potentially some of the other dual, motivations behind this idea to invade Venezuela.
And I think where they're trying to go is to make this into a military conflict, not just with these organizations, but they need to tie it to Venezuela.
What I tell you. This is what I tell you. They just waiting on Venezuela to throw one rock. And it is going up on a Tuesday. I'm telling you, Trump is not. You heard what he said. Yeah, they can do what they want. They can do what they want. That was crazy. Right? It hit different when you see firsthand what's really going on. Because behind the scenes, this is what's happening. Huh? They're trying to set up a puppet government in Venezuela to steal the natural minerals. All of them. And then, this the crazy part. They set the puppet government up so they could keep the Venezuelans in Venezuela because they're not about to let them be Americans. Ooh, dirty, dirty, dirty. It's a dirty game, man.
I think what's going on, Paul, is that they want there to be a military conflict so that they can justify using the Alien Enemies Act internally and start being able to round up Venezuelan nationals for the means of deportation. I think these things are connected, right? Like, I think this is a Stephen Miller special, which is about using the latitude that the president has in foreign policy to essentially manufacture a military conflict that then can be used to justify certain internal domestic authorities that allow the president, in a conflict or in a state of war, whatever, to be able to remove people. That's my.
Told you. I told you. I ain't make none of this up. Intelligent people are seeing it our way, y'all.
Hey, can we stop? Sounds like a pretty good hypothesis. This potentially this dual purpose for invading Venezuela, starting a war, illegally without the consent of Congress, starting a war so they can say any Venezuelan that we see on American soil is definitely like an enemy combatant because they have some loyalties to their home country, and therefore we have to get rid of them from our soil. It's just another aspect for ramping up, as she mentioned, Stephen Miller's bloodthirsty, hell-bent objectives of trying to deport as many people as possible, brown people as possible, because he's a rabid racist. That Stephen Miller guy is. The bad part about this whole ramp up to this war and everything is there's many smart people that know what's going on and continue to expose it. Listen closely to this, because I had to listen to it a couple times to try and figure out exactly what it is that Max Blumenthal, who was on Piers Morgan's show, was talking about with this panel. On that panel was one former ambassador, the United States. His name is James Story. Max Blumenthal, journalist, talked about what it is that we've been doing with Venezuela and other countries like that for a very long time, and how that also connects to this, new war approach that we've got.
And just to quickly respond to 2 points the other panelists made, Mike Baker accused me of wearing a tinfoil hat. The truth about the cartel of the Suns being
I said I forgot mine.
Okay, fine. I just want to point this out for viewers. The truth about the CIA founding the cartel of the Suns to ship cocaine in the United States was exposed to a national U.S. televised audience by Mike Wallace on 60 Minutes in 1993, back when 60 Minutes reported on the CIA and not on behalf of the CIA. And just quickly to respond to Virtual Ambassador Story, who accused me of ad hominem attacks. You are a government official. You are a veteran coup plotter, and it is legitimate for a journalist to scrutinize the activities of a coup plotting government official who in February 2021 hosted a insurrectionist summit at the Marriott Hotel in Bogota. You, with Leopoldo Lopez, the US-backed coup leader who staged multiple failed military coups and led violent riots that saw Afro-Venezuelan citizens burned in the streets. Check out Orlando Figuera. And Carlos Vecchio, the fake ambassador to Venezuela, who is actually the lawyer for ExxonMobil, which seeks to regain its control of Venezuelan fields.
Oh my God, what? The whole time I'm listening, I'm like, oh my God. Like, oh my God. I don't know any of this. Let me look this up. I'm still trying to find all of it, but he was talking about the years long, probably decades long movements and thoughts that these guys have had in invading and having some excuse for what it is that they're doing down in Venezuela. Man, did you see the smile wipe off of my man's face? The guy with the beard that he was talking to, the former ambassador, James Story. It was like the whole time he's like
hosted a insurrectionist summit at the Marriott Hotel in Bogota. You with Leopoldo Lopez, the US-backed coup leader who staged multiple failed military coups and led violent riots that saw Afro-Venezuelan citizens burned in the streets. Check out Orlando Figuera. And Carlos Vecchio, the fake ambassador to Venezuela, who is actually the lawyer for ExxonMobil, which seeks to regain its control of Venezuelan fields.
I can't independently confirm all the things that Max Blumenthal was talking about.
You. He exposed cuz, man. Listen, wipe that smile right off. We're going to wash that gray right out of your hair.
About all of these potentially nefarious setups and opportunities they've had to try and invade.
This is one of the most deeply anti-democratic opposition movements led by Maria Corina Machado, who has led several coup attempts in Venezuela. I mean, it's basically like January 6th again and again with the sponsorship of the U.S. Embassy, violent riots that have killed hundreds. I personally watched Maria Corina Machado attempt to take over La Carlota Air Base in Caracas while the U.S. was trying to ram aid trucks into Venezuela, which the Venezuelan opposition subsequently burned and blamed on Maduro. This is a corrupt opposition that stole millions of dollars from Citgo after the U.S. stole it from Venezuela. This is a corrupt opposition that has paid millions to U.S. mercenaries like Jordan Goudreau, who I interviewed, who has personally described to me what the real agenda here is, which was for Trump Incorporated cronies to get their hands on contracts and to plunder Venezuela's rich mineral wealth and oil. Ambassador Story revealed the agenda himself when he appeared on a straightforward propaganda piece for regime change on 60 Minutes and said, Nicolas Maduro is a bad actor sitting on the world's largest oil reserves. Well, that's why you consider him a bad actor, because there's plenty of bad actors in the world, and neither of you will condemn ICC wanted war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu or call for his arrest, will you? Neither of you will talk about Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa's role in the international drug trade through Benita and his family shipping company. I mean, the list goes on and on. I could spend the next 45 minutes talking.
Yeah, bro, look like he about to eat a boo-boo sandwich. His stomach is sour. Man, listen, he is convicting this man. Everything he's saying is real. Dog trying to play it off. He just dumb. Dude is just realizing he looking at his face. Pierce is a sellout. He's dumb. He just got smacked with the truth. Dog is realizing he just got smacked with the truth. And this nigga is standing with Jaja. Listen, hold on, let me go back.
Nicolas Maduro is a bad actor sitting on the world's largest oil reserves. Well, that's why you consider him a bad actor, because there's plenty of bad actors in the world, and neither of you will condemn ICC wanted war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu or call for his arrest, will you? Neither of you will talk about Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa's role in the international drug trade through Benita and his family his family's shipping company. I mean, the list goes on and on. I could spend the next 45 minutes talking about U.S. sponsored bad actors, but there are bad actors. The reason Maduro's a bad actor is because he's sitting on oil reserves.
Bro, it's not like he checked notes. I'm trying to figure out because Max.
Dang, dog. Dude was on fire. Bro was on fire. I could sit here 45 minutes straight and tell you about the U.S. backed bad actors. Check, please.
Blumenthal must have like an encyclopedia in his head. That's crazy. Maybe there was a teleprompter. I know it didn't seem like it the way that he was running through all of those things that he was breaking down that these guys, from my own perspective, I'm gonna have to say potentially were involved in and what is it they're up to. But it all makes a lot of sense, especially since we're positioning warships and sending all these bombers down to Venezuela for the sake of what they're calling nothing. Oh, we just want to protect the Southern Hemisphere. We want to make sure we patrol the Southern Hemisphere. There's the fact that they're doing all this to this degree means a lot more than that. This is what's happening is they're sending things down to Venezuela with all these objectives.
According to a source, there are 4 B-52 bombers that are en route to Venezuela. There's also a report out there on social media that says that these 4 U.S. Air Force B-52H Stratoforus bombers are heading towards the Gulf of Mexico, with flight trackers showing that 2 bomber barons from Minot AFB or Air Force Base in North Dakota leading the pack. But here is the deal. This is what it costs to fly a B-52 bomber. $71,000 an hour. That's roughly $300,000 per hour for 4 of them. 6.37 hours of flight time from Fargo to Venezuela. 2-hour training or mission bombing, and then 6.37 hours back. So 14.74 total hours. That's the estimated hours here. Times 4 planes at $71,000 equals $4.186 million. According to the source, we don't usually drop money like that on a training mission.
Don Lemon's right. I know there's issues sometimes folks have with Don Lemon, but the cost of sending bombers down there and repositioning ships and all that stuff for what is that Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump are saying is just like nothing. We just want to make sure we want to check out those drug boats with 4 people on them. I'm sorry, fishermen. They're doing all this and spending that many millions of dollars for the sake of nothing. They don't do all this for nothing. There's just no such thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, don't get it twisted. It's some money to be get. And one thing about Trump is that he is such a businessman and he is such an American, right? It don't matter. Long as it helps the Americans, he gonna push it through. And in some ways, it's going to help the people. You dig what I'm talking about? Just, in the same way, like, garbage cans sometimes get a steak. Or because after a forest fire, there's so much carbon in the grass, more grass grows from having, a destructive force at the head of it. You dig what I'm talking about? You're going to get certain things out of the destruction, because out of the destruction comes change. That's what I look at Trump as. Trump is change. And liking, loving, hating, whatever. You dig what I'm talking about? You dig what I'm saying? He different. He different. I will say that the man is different. Trump earlier this week, if y'all haven't heard, signed an executive order reclassing marijuana. You dig what I'm talking about? Taking it from category 1 to category 3, showing that it has medicinal purposes. You dig what I'm saying? And it's going to change the taxing and how people be able to get into this game, funding, banking. It's going to change a lot, right? But it's also playing into the hands of Big Pharma. Don't you think that he didn't have it already set up to where they was going to get their pockets paid?
Veterans with
So that means for the mom and pop dispo, it's about to get bad because you about to have Walmart dispos. It's about to get ugly.
service-related injuries and older Americans who live with chronic medical problems that severely degrade their quality of life. And it's so really, I mean, just, I can't tell you, I think I probably have received more phone calls on this, on doing what we're doing. I don't think I received any calls on the other side of it, but hopefully this reclassification, which by the way, polls at 82%, will help many of those patients live a far better life. We're joined today by Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's doing a fantastic job, Administrator of Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, the FDA Commissioner, Dr. Marty McCary, Director of the National Institutes of Health, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, and the Director of the National Institute on Drug Abuse, Dr. Nora Valkow, as well as Dr. Ilana Braun from the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, Duke University's Dr. David Casaret, the National Commander of the American Legion, Dan Wiley, and my friend Howard Kessler. Howard, how are you feeling? I'm telling you, he looks better than he did 20 years ago. But I don't want to go through what you went through to get there, right? But it looks like you're doing great. I'm proud of you. I want to emphasize that the order I am about to sign is not the legalization, or it doesn't legalize marijuana in any way, shape, or form, and in no way sanctions its use as a recreational drug. It has nothing to do with it. Just as the prescription painkillers may have legitimate uses, but can also do irreversible damage and never, if you look at some of the damage that can be caused, wreck lives, and if it's abused, it's never safe to use powerful controlled substances in recreational manners, and especially in this case, if you take a look, illegal and unregulated drugs, very, very bad thing. So I've always told my children, don't take drugs, no drinking, no smoking, and just stay away from drugs. I have been, they would look at me, they said, Dad, would you stop saying that? I would say it every time I looked at it practically. Young Americans are especially at risk, so unless a drug is recommended by a doctor for medical reasons, just don't do it. At the same time, the facts compel the federal government to recognize that marijuana can be legitimate in terms of medical applications when carefully administered. In some cases, this may include the use as a substitute for addictive and potentially lethal opioid painkillers. And they cause tremendous problems. This can do it in a much lesser way, can make people feel much better that are living through tremendous pain and problems. 40 states and multiple U.S. territories have already recognized the use of medical marijuana. This reclassification order will make it far easier to conduct marijuana-related medical research, allowing us to study benefits, potential dangers, and future treatments. It's going to have a tremendously positive impact, I believe. We're also asking Congress to reconsider its classification of hemp-derived CBD to ensure seniors can access CBD products they have found beneficial for pain and other reasons. Some people are literally dying, and they're dying with tremendous pain, and this can, in many cases, literally stop it. And they have their senses about them, as opposed to painkillers, which don't allow that, don't allow them to die with dignity, frankly. I promise to be the president of common sense, and that is exactly what we're doing. This is really something having to do with common sense, and it's something having to do with the fact that so many people that I respect ask me to do. People that are having problems, big problems. They are having big problems with illness, with cancer in particular. I now want to ask Dr. Oz to say a few words, followed by Dr. Braun, Dr. Casseret, Dan Wiley, and Dr. Valka.
You ain't about to listen to all that, but you dig what I'm talking about. You get the gist. Basically, what he just told y'all. Let me put this in a nutshell for y'all. If y'all didn't catch what just happened, basically he kept the little man on the crappy end of the stick, but he opened up the game to big pharma. But because of the classification change, it will change lending practices with the banks. This is where you're going to get opportunities at. You did what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's where all the the possibility to get yourself into the hemp or marijuana or food growing business. Same thing, y'all. This is what I want to tell y'all. It's the same thing. They use the trashiest stuff to grow our food with. Use the best to grow our marijuana. If you take the same products you grow your marijuana with and grow your food, not only will they be massive, they will be super clean and organic. Shout out to the farmers, not felons, all the young folks and people that we go out here and teach how to farm and grow and feed themselves every year. You dig what I'm talking about? Shout out to all y'all in the Farmers Not Felons program. You dig what I'm saying? Gonna keep pushing, keep growing. Get us some federal funding, and we gonna take this thing worldwide, man. What else did I want to show y'all too? Oh, did y'all see? Let me show y'all this. Watch this. Hold on. Let me show y'all this thing in Vegas. Real quick. Did y'all see what happened in Vegas? It's bad. Damn, how do I? Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me share this with y'all. Let me share this with y'all real quick, right? Did y'all hear about what happened in Vegas? Right, let me blow this up a little bit so y'all can see this. They found 300 piles of bodies in the desert. Now, let me repeat what I just said to you. Not 300 bodies. They found 300 bodies in the desert. No, 300 piles of bodies in the desert. Huh? Watch this.
Probably trying to figure out this giant mess of who all these people are. But by God, I hope it's not some kind of a wacko serial killer.
It's not playing.
Running loose. I'm assuming it's probably like a funeral home that was negligent, and rather than, preparing the bodies for funerals and burying them like they're supposed to, they probably dumped them in the desert. But if you haven't seen it, check this one out. It'll make your stomach turn.
Why is this not national news? Why is this not on every news channel in America? So 300 pounds of human remains was found in the Las Vegas desert. Not 300 bodies, 300 pounds of human remains.
So have you heard what they just found in Las Vegas, Nevada? They just found over 300 piles of human remains out in the desert. Now, this reminds me of that TV series. It could be either Breaking Bad or it could be the Ed Gein monster series. I mean, there are some sick people in the world.
Piles of cremated remains found in the desert. Now our 8 News Now investigators are learning more about the investigation well underway to find out who did it, as another funeral home steps up to give all those people a proper resting place. Our investigators breaking the news about that disturbing discovery at Searchlight about an hour south of the valley. That story made international headlines, and today only 8 News Now investigator David Charles back at Searchlight as another funeral home took care of each and every one.
But how do basically over 300 people wind up missing? They find piles of them in the desert. Supposedly now the funeral homes are out there recovering the remains, probably trying to figure out this giant mess of who all these people are. But by God, I hope it's not some kind of a wacko serial killer running loose. I'm assuming it's probably like a funeral home that was negligent, and rather than, preparing the bodies for funerals and burying them like they're supposed to, they probably dumped them in the desert. But if you haven't seen it, check this one out. It'll make your stomach turn.
Why is this not national news? Why is this not on every news channel?
A lot of people would think I'm crazy, but I'm telling y'all, what you watching, you dig what I'm talking about? The triangular ship is real, right? But what you watching from it, you dig what I'm talking about? Understand that what you're seeing is a man-made ship, right? There ain't nothing alien about it. See it right here? Nothing alien about it. It's 100% man-made. Conveniently gunmetal, military gray, right? Slight spiraling. You dig what I'm saying? Showing that it has moving parts on the inside of it. Nothing like a true Ethereum ship. This is man-made. Right? Hovering. Three things in the sky: Ethereum ships, extraterrestrial ships, and man-made ships. Yep. Remember, extraterrestrial don't mean alien. And you can't be here. You can't be in this shit right here, breathing Earth air, if you are alien to it, to Earth. It don't work that way. Right? You would have to have your own breathing system that breathes the stuff on your planet trapped in your ship, just like we would need oxygen if we was on another planet, right? They can't breathe what we breathe unless you from here. This is why it could be totally extraterrestrial, but it's not. It's the regular old degular gunmetal gray, ultra black, military style. If it wobbles, gives a slight spin, it's man-made. Crazy. Did y'all see that? Watch this. Hold on. Coming from this way, coming from right to left. Watch this. Watch this spirit come in here and come mess with this spin. Watch. Look. Look, you mess with it. Start messing. And look, he moving from the light. It's crazy. Damn, and then ran in front of him. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Well, I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. You dig what I'm saying? I ain't gonna hold y'all too long, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, man. Go get to rocking with these short leggers for the day, man. Hey, let me see if we can get up out of here one more time on this. Hold on. Let me see if we can get up out of here one more time on this.
Totally toxic.
Hush.
Leave me alone.
All right. Let me see. Let's see if I can set this up one more time. Share this real quick. Let me share this real quick. One more time. Shout out to Kev Capone. Man, we gotta put a visual to this one, man. But this thing's so hot. I had to play it again, man. False God killers are on here, man. Shout out to the 4 horsemen. You dig what I'm saying? Shout out to Kev Capone and the undergrads, man. Hey, you know, we ain't seen no mans. Ain't no lions in that lion den over there with JJ. I done already put hands on your whole Hebrew crew and your God. Put belt to the ass of your God. That's why y'all over there mealy mouthing, but don't want no smoke. You dig what I'm saying? Terrified to come on to the channel. Come talk to the OG. Boy, better fall back. We ain't seen no lions. Huh? Shout out to Kev Capone, man. You dig what I'm saying? This a blapper, boy. You got you one with this one. You dig what I'm saying? This that JJ 7000 disc, man. Shout out to the undergrads. Let's get it.
We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one thing. Just like a chamber crowds with one-inch facts. Jungle talk screaming, don't house from the game with a savior complex. Say that shit for those lame. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one man. Just echo chamber crowds with one-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripted, no scars from the game with a savior complex. Say that shit for those lame. JJ, just a joke in a jester's jacket, jogging, jam, jabbering, juvenile tactics. Juries in your lives are shady and janky. Jealous of the Giants cause you fell out the rankings. Jerky cam journalism, jump scare opinions, jumbled agendas, just unripened sin. And Judas tone justice, throw up your hands theatrics, jumping jacks and backflips, just jaunt for traffic. Thug heavy judgment, temper alert, jaw tight cause the truth slashed your pride and it hurt. Jekyll by day, 7,000 by night, jammed in drunkenness, just itching to fight. Joy riding debates on another man's back. Scream your opinion, jack his momentum for claps. Jockeying viral moments just for a reaction. Job site, stay your master with no YouTube tracks. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one man. Just echo chamber crowds with one-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripted, no scars from the game with a savior complex. Say that shit for those lame. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one man. Just echo chamber crowds with one-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripted, no scars from the game with a savior complex. Say that shit for those lames. Jackhammer jargon from a job you resent. Jaded by labor, now it all makes sense. Jeans full of dust, but judging the profits. Jumping from job shift to the scripture for profits. Judging by hue, not intention or deed. Job melanin metrics, you are the fruit of that seed. Jehovah jargon, you just jamming the message. Just ignore spirit and essence for your skin tone obsession. Jeremiah energy, joy never present. Judging souls in the fold while your own needs tending. Justice preached, but the patience missing. Just noise, no light, just hate, no listening. Jumping up at sunrise, speaking in anger. Jostling combat vets, putting yourself in danger. Apostle getting whacked, you getting mad in the chat. Just sit behind him like his hoe and rub some salve on his back. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one man. Just echo chamber crowds with one-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripted, no scars from the game with a savior complex. Say that shit for those lame. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one man. Just echo chamber crowds with one-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripted, no scars from the game with a savior complex. Say that shit for those lames. Junction reach, max slips, posture pretends. Jocular preacher posing as a principal lens. Josh chasing rhetoric, smoking the eye. Jerry Rig vid stitched up for a lie. Juxtapose motives, the pattern looks thin. Jingle coded framing where division sneaks in. Jaundiced perception, travel by design. Jerking the discourse from spirit to sign. Jolted by losses, you journal in rage. JBN got you hating, scared to open the page. Junk drawer doctrine, mixed metals and rope. Just loud repetitions, no semblance of hope. Jaded by design, suspicious of each. Just conflict, addiction, the destruction of peace. Jukebox answer, same record replayed. Just scratches and skips, where thinking decay. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one man. Just echo chamber crowds with one-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripted, no scars from the game with a savior complex. Say the shit for those lame. We in the lion's den, but I ain't seen one man. Just echo chamber crowds with one-inch fangs. Jungle talk scripted, no scars from the game with a savior complex. Say the shit for those lames.
Y'all breathe in. Let that light in. Some Kosmon, and I'm out.